Hello and welcome to episode 103 of the Gamers of the Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host Darren Whittam, and joining me this week it's the other Spark on the pod. He's got the fastest trigger finger in the west of Tunbridge Wells anyway, though it has certainly been tested over the last few days, battered and bruised from hitting that refresh button. But here for his listening masses, it's the Billy the Kid of pre-orders, Mr. Anthony Chesson. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw! Awesome. Hello, sir.
How's it going, mate?
Not too bad at all. I'll just take my spurs off because I might rattle while we're recording the pod. I'm not too bad, sir. I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm out of breath after that intro. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right.
How's your week been?
It's been okay. I haven't done that much this week. I was racking my brains of what to talk about in the how's your week been stuff. Sam's still off on holiday, so doing stuff with him. So I took him to went to the zoo.
Right.
Saw the animals, that was good. Saw the penguins and the sea lions and whatnot. Nothing really interesting happened at the zoo. You know, I bet you were thinking I'd have some sort of, I don't know, tortoise mating ritual thing to talk about. Well, you might not have thought that, but...
No, my brain doesn't instantly go to tortoise mating, but yes.
I always think of things like that because you take children to like animal places and things invariably happen. Like when I went to SeaWorld and we saw the dolphins getting up to stuff, and all the parents were like putting their hands over the children. But nothing like that happened, you know. It was all very nice. Took him around the zoo. What else did we do? Oh, he's learning to swim. So been taking him swimming as well.
Right.
And I trust his swimming instructor because I noticed his swimming instructor's teaching him. And I said to Claire, What's that on her neck? And I said, I'm sure that's a Triforce symbol tattoo. And then Claire had a look. She was like, yeah, it looks like it. But you couldn't really see it because she's teaching Sam, but she's in like sort of a polo, shirt. So you could just see a little bit of it down the back of the neck. And then anyway, I asked her, I said, I'm trusting you to teach Sam swimming because you're using the power of the Triforce. And she went, oh, wow, yeah, you recognise my tattoo, did you? I said, I thought it was a Triforce tattoo on the back of your neck. And she went, oh, yeah, I absolutely love Zelda. And it was just really amazing. I was just as shocked. And she said, yeah, I've been playing Zelda since I was a kid. And she said, have you played the new one? And I said, yeah, I'm playing it at the moment. And she said, yeah, I completed it ages ago, got a Switch for it, played every Zelda. I was like, oh, wow. So you're a bit of a fan.
Did you tell her your sad story that you can't play it because you don't want to finish it?
I didn't have time. I didn't have time to tell her. I didn't have time to go through all the intricacies. I hardly know her. But yeah, that was really interesting. It was such a good tattoo as well. Really, looks. It's just really well drawn.
Right
on the back of the neck, and I was like, first of all, I just sort of I just saw a tattoo, and I was like, I recognise that symbol, and I was like, it can't be, can it? And it was like, yeah, it is. I was just like, oh, that's so cool. So Sam's being taught by a disciple of the Triforce.
Princess Zelda.
Princess Zelda herself. So that's pretty cool.
She's a Zoron, obviously.
Yes. Well, I wonder if she can do that thing where she sort of dives in, kicks her feet, and goes, sort of launches into the air. Double flip. So that's pretty cool. But that's about it for me. That's about all I've got to report. What about you? Have you done anything interesting?
I popped into London on Saturday. My sister was down, so she was down seeing a show. So I just kind of popped in to see her after the show. So she went to see Kinky Boots, I think it was, and so we popped in to see afterwards. For some beers and some barbecue food. I found one of my favourite barbecue places in London. Also has one in Covent Garden as well. So which was really cool. So it was very interesting because you kind of just rack up, in Covent Garden. You go, oh, can I have a table for 3? And they just went, that'll be an hour and 20-minute wait.
Wow.
And you're just like, how? So they just said, the great thing about it was they said, we'll give you let me take your number, and what we'll do is we'll text you 5 minutes before. So they said they'll text us 5 minutes before, just to let us know the table, and then we've got to be there in 5 minutes. So we just went kind of, a couple of the doors down to a really nice brew house, and then had some lots of beers there, and some fine craft ales there. So it was really cool. It was kind of, I'd had a little bit too much. I felt a little bit worse for wear kind of next morning, So I felt a little bit kind of like, oh, maybe I had a little bit too much, but it was really good fun. kind of catching up with my sister. But then on Sunday, in our kind of, hangover slumber, we started watching The Defenders. So, The Defenders is the brand new show on Netflix, the brand new Marvel show on Netflix. So, which contains, it's kind of what Marvel Cinematic, or I should say, the Netflix Marvel Cinematic Universe has been building up to. So, you've got Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. So, they've all had a season each. Daredevil's had 2 seasons, and now this is now bringing them all together in an 8-part series called The Defenders. And it is absolutely superb. It's really cool because the kind of 2 things that kind of make this show absolutely cool. One, it's what I've always wanted. Throughout all of these shows, they've always said, "Oh, you need a lawyer." And I'm like, "Oh, here they come, Matt Murdock, who's Daredevil. Matt Murdock's coming." Well, spoiler alert. Matt Murdock's coming, and it never happens. It's just some other lawyer. And there's one rolling character, which is Rosario Dawson, who plays the night nurse. She's the kind of rolling character in all of this, and you just want her to go, "Do you know what? I've got a friend that can help you." Well, in The Defenders, she finally does that. She finally goes, "I've got a friend," and it's just like, you need to meet someone, and they just bring them all together in a beautiful way. It's just such a great series. And Nicola and I keep geeking out, going, "Oh my god!" And it's bringing in every single character that has been in all of those series, all of the side characters, all of the secondary characters are all coming in to this Defenders show, and it is absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant. I always find it difficult with these sort of arrangements because I always think, well, they're all dealing with their own individual bad guys in their own individual series. It's kind of like, well, where do they get a baddie powerful enough when they all come together? They need a baddie that's 4 times as powerful and a bit more, so that you're not sure that they're going to win. It's the same with the Avengers, isn't it? It's like all these Avengers are dealing with really every film's going to have a really powerful baddie when it's a standalone film, and it's like, bring them all together, and it's like, what do you do?
Yeah, it's a super. I mean, in Avengers, Infinity Stone that is coming out next year, they're doing exactly that. They're bringing in Thanos, and Thanos is just, ginormous, and he's bringing his army as well. So that's for the Avengers, and not just the Avengers, more than the Avengers to kind of take on. But but the great thing about Defenders is it's not very kind of big aliens. This is all about kind of this group called the Hand, and the great thing about it is it's the same kind of group that's really been going through all of them, especially Jessica Jones and Daredevil and Iron Fist have had this almost same different branches of the same villain. So you're seeing all this stuff coming in, and it's just awesome.
Excellent. Yeah, because I quite like those baddies as well, because I've watched Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and at the end of Daredevil season 2, you can see that the Hand, they're getting stronger, aren't they? And it's all you're just allowed to see a little glimpse into it, aren't you?
Absolutely.
And I think at the end of it, they it leaves it open that there's going to be like somebody made into a real bad guy.
Yeah.
And then there'd be no reason why they couldn't do that to more people. So I suppose that makes sense. I quite like that as well. It's all really in Hell's Kitchen, isn't it? It's not like worldwide or...
No, it's all in New York. It's all because what you basically have is you have, obviously, Daredevil is Hell's Kitchen. Jessica Jones is kind of almost the Upper West Side. Luke Cage is Harlem, and Danny Rand, who plays Iron Fist, he's kind of a rich kid, so he's on the east side. So it's really kind of like New York as a whole. And as with most Marvel stuff, it's always kind of based in New York. But the kind of other thing that makes this absolutely just awesome is the cinematography of, and I know that sounds kind of poncy, but it's just what makes it. It's just every single character has its own look. So it's the way that it's shot. So Daredevil has this kind of dark, almost red tint to the screen. Luke Cage has this like blaxploitation kind of orangey yellow kind of vibe going on. Jessica Jones is very purple. You can see this like purpley blue tint, and Iron Fist is green. So in the first couple of episodes, especially when they're kind of very kind of separate, you just notice as it's switching from scene to scene, it's using the cinematography, it's using the filters that it does for the TV shows. And it was just, and I just sat there and I was just geeking out over this, that I was like, what's going to happen when they're all together, you know? And it's just fantastic the way it just, because it's almost like they cut to this thing and you go, oh, this is a Luke Cage episode, a Luke Cage scene, because it's that yellowy orange tin. And it just works so well, and it just, because it's really nice to see that they all have their own styles and their own uniqueness.
Yeah, that is a really nice touch. I mean, I suppose there's a risk that it could have been annoying, but it sounds like it works really well.
Oh, no. Honestly, dude, it works so well.
It's really only subtle, isn't it, anyway? It's only subtle.
Yes, I mean, it's very subtle, but you know, I guess if you're tuned into it, and apologies listeners, if I've now tuned you into it, but if you're tuned into it, you can really kind of notice it, and it just really does. I love it. It just really kind of makes it.
You used to have a game with Nicola. First one to shout out what the character's going to be when it transitions. Yeah, this is Luke Cage bit.
I'm pissed. We have little cards, so we just slap them down, and whoever has the most cards. But it's just so we're it's 8 episodes. It's 8 episodes, and we're 6. We've done 6, so we've got 2. We was going to watch it last night. But we decided that if we watched the penultimate episode, we knew that we would want to watch the final, you know, the final episode. So we said, no, we'll leave it for when we've got an evening. We'll leave it, and then we'll just kind of watch those last 2. So it's probably either going to be Thursday or Friday this week, because I'm up in Manchester tomorrow. So it's either going to be Thursday or Friday, and then we're just going to go through the last kind of two episodes.
Yeah, then you're done for a year.
Done until Punisher.
Punisher's
next. Punisher's still coming in 2017.
Oh, classic. What was I going to say about that? You were very strong. You're very strong to resist the penultimate episode.
Absolutely.
Claire and I are the same. It's like we try not to, because we know you can't leave it after the second to last one. But last night, for instance, we were watching. We've been watching Dexter for the last few weeks.
Right.
We're up to. We just finished season 5, so I think we've got another 3 to go until it finishes. Because we like to watch things that are done, and we made the mistake last night. We got to we said what episode are we on, and we just finished 10 out of 12.
Right.
And it was about 10:30, and it was like but it was really exciting, and we went, let's just watch it. And we knew that committed us to 2 episodes.
Yes, absolutely.
We're just tired today. Paid the price, man.
You do. Because I guess
what?
Strong. You never went to bed till half past midnight, something like that.
Let me think.
On the school night.
Yeah, on the school night, and then we were like talking about it, and then you can't go to sleep straight away because you're all excited. So we sort of watch a bit of Seinfeld to calm down. So it takes it. It's like a hardcore night. Well, no, not hardcore. It's late night anyway.
Yeah, that's just so cool. No, I must admit, like I say, we what's that? We finished at like about 9:30. I watched Game of Thrones because it was the penultimate episode of Game of Thrones this week, of the new series of Game of Thrones. So I watched that early in the morning. I woke up at like 5:30 in the morning. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to pop downstairs, stick the headphones on. I'm going to watch Game of Thrones because Nicola doesn't watch Game of Thrones. But then when we finished watching, The Defenders, I just stuck it back on to like Sky, and Nicola was off for bluting, so I just thought, do you know what, I'll watch Game of Thrones again, and I watched the second half, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone. I watched the second half of the latest episode again. Called Nicola in at one point because you needed to see this cinematic splendor that was this episode, and it was just so cool. So I ended up watching kind of like 1.5 Game of Thrones. I watched it again, so which is really cool. But yeah, we got final episode. So does that mean that you and Claire can now jump in to season 7?
I might do. I might get when it's aired. I might get your opinion on how it ends it, because Claire's sort of she's sort of a mind that she wants to link, because it's a shorter season, that she wants to link this and the next one together.
Right.
And I'm like this about it. If it's a massive cliffhanger at the end of this one, I think I might just leave it and wait,
right.
rather than have the torture. and then wait. You know, it's been 6 weeks. Before that, it was a year from the last season. What's another year? So we'll see. I'll wait on the chess and judgment.
Okay, so you want me to give you a cliffhanger thermometer on how bad the cliffhanger is?
Yeah.
If it's
does it feel like it sews some things up in a reasonable sort of way, or is it a massive cliff edge?
No. It's I kind of got an idea where the last episode is going. The last episode, I mean, you're saying it's kind of a short season. It's kind of not, because this episode that's just gone was 71 minutes, and the last episode is 81 minutes. So they're almost kind of doing that 8-9 episodes, and they've been having extra length to other episodes as well. So there was one a couple of weeks ago, it was 56 minutes, but they really are kind of pushing that 50-minute mark on most of the episodes. And like I say, we've almost got an hour and a half. We've almost got an hour and a half finale next week.
Does it feel like a whole? Like a whole thing, rather than just that they padded it out? I mean, they did it with Breaking Bad.
Oh God, no. There's not enough time. They need. Do you know what? The one thing that this season could have probably done with is probably even more time. I don't feel there's been in this season there has been zero padding.
Wow. Because I know with the final season of Breaking Bad, they broke that into 2 seasons, if you like, or mini seasons. It was the same season, but we broke it into 2 parts.
Right.
But it was fine, because at the end of the first, say it was 12 in a season, I can't remember exactly how many. It might have been more with Breaking Bad. But say it was 12. At the end of the first 6, it ended really well. So well they could have almost left it there, and it was that was good. But then the next 6 were just amazing as well. So that's sort of what I'm comparing it to. So it's a high benchmark, but it sounds like it sounds from what you're saying so far that it'll be just fine to watch. It's not going to and watch it, and it feels like a whole in itself, and then just wait for the next one.
Absolutely, this isn't a season cut in 2. This is 2 seasons of 8 episodes. You know, you're only missing 2 episodes of 7 episodes. Sorry, not 8. So you're only missing 3 episodes for each season. They're not cutting a season in half. This is them kind of going, that's all we've got the money for right now. So that's all we can do. And the production value. It's really funny. I watched episode 1 episode 1 of season 1 a while back, and the production. From last night's to that one looks like a BBC drama. Not there's anything wrong with that, but it looks like a BBC drama compared to this one. It is just a blockbuster movie. It's incredible.
Wow. Well, talking to Game of Thrones, you just reminded me of something I did do this week. I finished the book that I was reading. And I'm very sad.
What book did you read?
I've been reading these books for a while, and the latest one I got for my birthday, it came out this year. It's the final book in an epic high fantasy trilogy. This one's called the Fitz and the Fool trilogy, which is part of a set of books known as the Farseer books, by an author called Robin Hobb. And this is the final set of 3 books in a trilogy of 3 books. So it's like a trilogy of trilogies, if you like. I got these books, I don't know, a few years ago and started reading them. I think she's been writing them for 20 years.
Wow.
But luckily, I only hit sort of the last book, say a year ago.
Right.
And then the next book it was due out in August last year, and it was delayed, and then it came out, unlike Game of Thrones. Then she finished it with this book, and I got that for my birthday in May. I think it might have come out a month or 2 months before that. Anyway, I got it in May, and I've been reading it sort of for the last few months. It's quite a thick book, it's like 900 pages or whatever.
Right.
Well, I suppose that depends how big the letters are, doesn't it? I've
1 per page.
It's loads of pictures. And anyway, I finished that this week, and I'm so sad to finish. But when you finish a book that you love, and you feel a bit sad, you feel a little bit like you've lost a friend. And that did that to me. I don't want to sort of obviously don't want to spoil any of it. But if you're interested, if you like reading, if you're interested in high fantasy, look up these books by Robin Hobb, the Farseer trilogy, also known as the Assassin's books. And the books are just so great. They start off way back when in the first trilogy. They're so good because they start off, and this guy, the main character, gets delivered to a castle by a guard as an orphan, as a small boy. I mean, we're talking like probably 5 or 6. And these books are big, and that could be daunting. Some people might put people off because you can't read it. You're not going to be reading it in a day. Well, some people probably do, big fans and stuff. But she's got the time. I've never read a book before where the growing up of the character has just had so much time spent on it and had so much adventures through the growing up. It's sort of like, you read a chapter or two and then it's like, and then they're 20 or whatever. And this really chronicles the life of this guy through the first trilogy.
Right.
Probably through the first book. And it was weird because after reading that, I read another book that was a lot thinner. And so this case, it started similar with a kid and then went through the sort of the growing up of the character. And it just felt so sort of redundant after this book. But anyway, it's just there's so much detail there and so much history and so much characterization as you read the story of this guy. And it goes through him getting hooked up within the castle that he gets taken to as a kid, doesn't know his lineage, and he gets taken on as an assassin for the king. And the first book sort of shows him learning the trade of that and what to do and going through training and coming to grips with also a special magic that he seems to have that he's got no power over. And it just goes from strength to strength, and it ends up chronicling his life and the life of his friends, and he ends up living for a very long time.
Right.
So you see sort of generations through the books of people that come and go, and it's just tremendous. And I read the conclusion this week, and it's very, very bittersweet. Just she wrote it so perfectly, and it's just so an ending that's sort of as beautiful as it is sad, but kind of perfect. And yeah, I was just very moved. So I'm sad now. I've got nothing to read. I might start them all again.
Right. Oh wow, really? When did you start reading the first book?
Well, I've read them in I got the first book. I don't know. It was years ago. I don't even know who turned me onto it. I don't know how I got into it. And I read that and I liked it. So I read the first trilogy, and then I read, just wasn't reading for a while, and then sort of got the next. I think it was like next Christmas. Claire had sort of gone, I'll get in the next ones of this, and then so I read those. The middle set of books, the sort of second 3 books, or the second trilogy, if you like, they were amazing because the first book was sort of like like a prelude. The middle book was like the main story, and then the last book, half of it was sort of the conclusion of that story, and the next half was like a massive ending. And I hate it when an ending's too short.
Yes. And
this really went into the ending and the consequences of the ending and all this. And I think some people might think the books are a bit slow, actually. But I absolutely loved it. So then I read, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago, something like that. And then this new trilogy came out, and I hadn't heard of it because it's not something that I really follow. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, there's a new book in this trilogy. And by the time I'd heard about it, there was 2.
Wow.
So I got those 2, which I read sort of last year. And then the new one came out this year and allowed me to conclude it. The only unfortunate thing was I'd kind of gone fuzzy on the last book, right? Because it had been so long. But I was too eager to read the new book to reread the last book, sort of thing. So I went on the internet and gave myself a little refresher, which was really dangerous because I was trying to avoid the new book.
Yes, yeah.
But I managed to do it. Read this book, really beautiful. It's got magic, it's got bravery, it's got heroics, despair. Or terrible despair to balance against sort of the sweetness of the end. It's nice. It's nice. So if everyone's got any time to read a big old book, if you're a regular commuter and you like a read, I'd read the Assassin's books by Robin Hobb. They're amazing. I forgot.
Awesome.
Actually, I did do something. I did that.
Excellent stuff. Superb. Right. Before we jump into what we've been playing, I have to ask, because we've had some great feedback from last week's Pizza Corner. Have you had any pizza oven action this week, sir?
Yeah.
What you been slamming into your pizza oven?
What I've been doing with my pizza oven this week, just the same old thing, really. I think. I tell you what. Yesterday or the day before it was, my dough didn't rise. It was a bit of a nightmare. It was a bit weird.
No.
I don't know why. That was. Did everything the same. I think it might be because my yeast's quite old.
Right. You've got to keep the yeast young. There's a tip.
You may have to. It's really odd, though, because it's the same box of yeast that is risen every other time.
Yes.
But the yeast is old, because the yeast that I'm using is the yeast I bought from my last pizza fad, which was years ago. A couple of years ago. And I was doing pizzas in the normal conventional oven. And I got bored of it and never made pizzas again because it wasn't quite right. So the yeast I'm using is a few years old, but it's been working fine.
Right.
But yeah, that was weird. So what I did as well, because it didn't rise, I wrote, instead of doing my usual, I usually hand stretch the dough.
Yeah.
Right, because I feel that that's the proper way of doing it. And I thought, you know what? And I was in a rush as well, so I rolled it out with a rolling pin.
Oh my goodness!
Which is
you can never rush pizza. Surely that's the
that's the idea, isn't it?
That's the first commandment. Don't rush this.
Ask any Domino's driver.
Yeah,
it's like, you're an hour late, mate. It's like you can never rush pizza.
You can't rush pizza.
You can't rush pizza, and you're like, all right, here's a tentative. So I rolled it out with a rolling pin. That squashed the air out of it, and I saw the difference when I cooked the pizza. It didn't all bubble up.
Right.
So that was a bit of a shame. But apart from that one incident, it's been good. Getting anchovies out of the... this is my tip. If you're going to use anchovies, get them out of the jar before you actually want them.
Right.
Because with the uni, you've got to be really quick.
Yes.
You've got your pizza on your peel, you put your toppings on, and I think you've got about 30 seconds. This is for any pizza oven, I suppose, before it starts to stick to the paddle.
Yes.
And you don't want it sticking to the paddle, because then when you shake it, your toppings will fly off.
Yes.
If they fly off in the oven, they could stick to the bottom. And then it makes it sticky, and then your pizza might stick to the bottom. You might rip a hole in it, and stuff like that. It's a calamity.
Yes, yes.
So
have all your toppings ready on the side. Anchovies out, semi-dry.
I was trying to pinch the anchovies out of the bottle. You know those little thin bottles you get?
Yeah.
And my fingers are too fat for the top of the bottle. And I didn't have tweezers or anything. And
anchovy tweezers.
The fire, the fire's just right. The temperature of the stone's just right. Yeah. Everything's perfect. And I'm getting delayed by trying to pinch these anchovies out. And it's doing my head in, and I'll get one, and I think I've got it, and it's just the top that will come off. And I'm like, no! So in the end, I just got a fork and just slopped them all out, and then had to pick them out like that. Serves me right for liking anchovies. Not a lot of people like them, but I like a bit. I like a bit of anchovy.
I love anchovies, especially like on a Caesar salad or something like that. Give a nice kind of salty kick, don't they?
Yeah. I didn't used to like them, man, but yeah, I like that. So, apart from that, everything's good. Everything with it is brilliant. I've sort of mastered it now, I'd say, touch wood. I've sort of mastered it, because there's a bit of a curve with the uni, because of the way it works. It's not like a traditional pizza oven. You warm up a traditional pizza oven, and it stays at that temperature for ages. It takes a while to warm up, but then it stays at that temperature.
Yes.
And you can put your pizzas in at leisure, and it's good, as long as you get them out in time.
Yeah.
With the uni, it's constantly burning these wood pellets that keep it up to temperature, and it burns them like crazy, which gives this massive flame, which gets it up to temperature in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to keep...
so cool.
Yeah, it's really amazing. There's like a hopper at the back that you load the pellets in.
Yeah.
And if that runs out of pellets, and the fire devours all the pellets,
right,
the flame goes out, and then you've got to restart the fire. I mean, it doesn't take long, but what it does do, if that happens, it makes a lot of smoke inside the pizza oven.
Yes.
And that can cause your pizza to taste sooty.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I mastered that now. I sort of had a little stage a few weeks ago where the flame kept going out. And if I topped up the hopper with extra pellets, it quenched the fire. And I was like, this isn't what it says. Well, this isn't what the guy shows me on the YouTube video. This is a bit of a nightmare. And it's weird, because the first time I used it, I did it like a pro.
Right.
But then it's like third or fourth time, I was doing it wrong, and I didn't know what I was doing wrong or differently. Anyway, I think I was just being too impatient. That's what it was. You've got to wait till this tray of pellets is really well lit. And only then can you start adding the extra pellets on to fill the hopper. If you start adding them before it's properly, burning furiously, you quench the fire. It's kind of common sense. But when you're hungry and you've got mouths to feed, you sort of just want to do it quick. And that's what I was doing. I was being impatient. So you've got to be patient with it. You've got to respect the burn. And as long as you do that, you're okay. But I suppose, like a lot of things, it takes getting it wrong and learning to get it right. And I think I'm just about there now.
That's just so cool. So you get that kind of, like, from the uni, you get that kind of nice wood burning kind of taste to it as well.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, and you get that lovely sort of leoparding texture on the bottom of it, and the cheese gets that leoparding on the top as well, where the flame sort of licked over it.
Yes.
And then I sent you a picture the other day.
You did. That made me so hungry on the train coming
I'm sorry
over.
about that.
That was awesome.
The one that I didn't send you, because Claire wasn't ready with the camera, but I said I should have sent you this. As a bit the mozzarella just went, it stretched, and all the mozzarella was just like drooping down. It was burning my chin, which is annoying, but it's so nice. I picked it, I just like, just sort of eating it. And I said to Claire, I said, that's the picture that I should have sent, because that is just deep, because that's what you want, isn't it? That goo, that cheese gooiness, and that tomatoiness, and it's awesome. I also, the original little tip, I don't know if this might be only for uni people, I don't know, but I was buying salami, the thin stuff, the pre-packed stuff from the deli, putting that on the pizza now. Because of the heat, the salami sort of concaved up and then burnt the edges.
Right.
So I went down to the deli, the deli area of the supermarket where they actually cut it, and I got some salami, and I asked them to cut it thick,
right,
instead of getting pre-packed. So they cut it thick, so then it was too dense, a bit too heavy to curl up. Mm-hmm. Put that in, man, and that was delicious.
Oh, superb.
So yeah, there you go. Yeah, the uni is a bit of pizza talk. Never goes amiss. How are you doing? Are you going to get a pizza oven or what?
Well, it's quite funny actually, because Manny sent me a picture of, I think after he had spent some time at James's, he sent me a picture of this pizza oven that he's looking into, kind of almost until I do my garden, kind of a part-time pizza oven type thing. And I was very tempted over the weekend. I left it on Safari, kind of on my on a web page on my iPhone. Every time I went in, I just saw it, and I was very tempted just to kind of, as Nicola was saying, because it'd be really good just to kind of stick that in, for the kind of late summer, autumn, in the garden. But I just need to have a chat with Maddie about it, actually, because I want to make sure that you get that smoky and that kind of leopardine that you were talking about, because I want to make sure that the fire goes up there, because it was kind of part barbecue, part smoker, part pizza oven, and I was like, oh, that looks quite cool, and it looked quite cool just as a temporary thing until I do my garden, because Nicholas said, we've got the green light on the pizza oven, but it's just we have to wait until spring when we actually do the garden, because right now it just there's too much stuff happening at the house that we can kind of like take on the garden as well.
How much is it?
The one that Manny had sent me, it was from Aldi, and it was £85.
Oh wow, that's cheap, isn't it? Okay,
and it's a really cool little structure as well. It's a really cool, like, kind of, and you kind of got some place to put your wood. Because I was thinking, I want to smoke some ribs. This could be, actually, I could use this after, and it could go next to my pizza oven. But I just want to have a chat with him.
Yeah, that's fair enough, actually. I think I've seen the one that you're talking about on the Facebook Uni community.
Right.
The other day, someone was going on about an Aldi one, and they had a picture of it. So I think I know what you're talking about. I was going to say, as a temporary one, you could get an uni, because they're only £200.
Absolutely.
But that has not really got... You can do other stuff in it, but its main focus is making pizzas. But it's up to you. So compared to a real pizza oven, £200 is still pretty throwaway.
Yes,
So it's up to you. But yeah, I don't know what Manny's is like. If Manny's is good and he says it's really good, then I go for it. But I'd also say, if it's not perfect, it's probably worth spending the extra £115 and getting an uni as a temporary thing, seeing what you think, and then getting your real pizza oven and selling whichever one you get. You sell that at the time.
Exactly. I mean, the only thing that put me off the uni was the big long funnel, because I remember, when I sent it over to you, when I saw it at Chelsea Garden Show, I was like, I love this. These people are amazing. The uni guys are awesome. But it was just that for storage, just because I don't have anywhere to store at the moment. And
it clips off. It clips off.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it's completely
portable.
You've
never told me this. You've just blown my mind, sir.
I thought you knew that. It all folds down really small.
No one never told me that.
Oh, mate, yeah, the chimney, right? It's just got a little clip on the bottom, and you just undo the clip, and you take the chimney off, and you just lay it down next to the uni. You can take the stone out as well if you want, so it's even lighter, and you can just stick it in the shed in the corner. It takes up about, I don't know, 3 foot by 2 foot or something.
Oh my God! More pizza talk next week.
There you go. Compact. It's compact, man.
Awesome stuff. So, what have you been playing, sir? What have you been playing this week?
I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 2.5 Remix Alpha Extreme Hyper Fighter.
Would you? I don't know why.
I'll tell you what, you'll be glad to know if it's done.
You've done it. You've finished it.
yeah.
How did Sam? Did Sam like it all? Did he enjoy it? Was he still compelled? Was he still interested?
Yeah, he loved it. He's loved every minute of it. He wants to start it again.
Wow, that's really cool.
Do all the Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 again. He really likes it. He's like, when's Kingdom Hearts 3? I'm like, yeah, next year. He's like, I can't wait. I say, oh no, neither can I. He was good. He was rallying me in the fight against Sephiroth, who's an optional boss in there.
Right.
I couldn't beat him. I had to give up. I was getting too annoyed.
Right.
Getting too annoyed.
He's just an optional boss. I don't even need to take him out.
Yeah, I love optional bosses that are like harder than every boss that you've ever fought in any game. So there was him that I was a bit annoyed because I was kind of like, I could take him this time and get revenge for 10 years ago when I couldn't beat you. But in the end, I just thought, this is just too much work. So I completed it, enjoyed the ending. As I say, I sort of remembered Kingdom Hearts 1, and even though I played this like 4 years nearer to now,
yeah,
I couldn't remember any of it, which is really bizarre. But really enjoyed the ending. Sort of the story was quite well explained, actually. I know I was saying the story is bonkers. The story was quite well explained, I thought, towards the end.
Right.
Very pretty, as I've said before, and it was just really nice to see the end. I think we even unlocked the secret ending because there was a secret ending to unlock, and we watched all the ending, and I was like, oh wow! And it gives sort of like a little glimpse into like the next game. And I thought, have I got the secret ending? Have I not got the secret ending? Went on YouTube, secret ending, Kingdom Hearts 2, and got the same video. So I was like, oh demon,
superb!
Unlocked the secret ending. Don't know what the criteria was to do that because I didn't look before I'd done it. So yeah, that's all done now, and I saw another RPG under my belt. Yakuza's around the corner. Yakuza Kiwami, so that's good. I'm the RPG kid this year.
You really are. I was just about to say, you are killing it in the RPGs.
I know. I think it must be my favourite genre, maybe. There's another game to play.
Especially in 2017, it definitely is. I think it's like...
I know. Maybe I'll change next year. There's another game on the disc called Birth by Sleep, which is the latest game, I think, that's come out. It seems to be set... I started it. It's set before the games that we've played. It's a proper RPG. It's not a card game like Rechain of Memories. Looks pretty good. They've shaken up the combat system. It looks quite interesting. But there's something in me that, because it's not Sora and all those characters that I love, it's like, am I bothered about a prequel? Because I'm kind of just bothered about the main story. If they'd just started the series with that game, I would have probably enjoyed it. But I'm not that bothered about prequels. It's like, well, I know everybody. I know what happens because everybody's okay in the future.
Yes. I
say that, but it's different characters. And I think this is set way before, and it sets it all up for the Keyblade Wars and all this amazing stuff that happened that there's sort of no mention of. There's no mention of. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3. What else have I been playing? Housemarque's new game, Matterfall, on PlayStation 4. More twin-stick shooty banter from the masters of sort of bullet hell twin-stick shooters. I love Housemarque games. I don't love all of them. I didn't like what's it called? Alienation. I didn't love that one too much. But I love Resogun. Really like Nex Machina. And now this is the new one, which is only in a few months since Nex Machina, Matterfall.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. That's like 2 Housemarque games in a kind of space of a couple of months, isn't it?
Yeah. So they've been busy on 2 projects. Nex Machina is really good. We've spoken about that before. So what's Matterfall about? Well, it's got great particle sort of graphics again, but this time it's kind of like a platformer.
Right.
They've taken a bit of inspiration from the platform genre. It puts me in mind a little bit of maybe a bit Shadow Complexy, if you want an idea of that sort of platforming, without the Metroidvania stuff. You've got it all. I think you can. I'm pretty sure at the moment, from how much I've played, you can access all the locations if you just have the diligence to explore the levels. And that's another new thing from Housemarque, or certainly in the shooters that I played from them. Not so much Alienation. I think you did explore in that, but Resogun and Nex Machina. It's pretty much it's just shoot. This has got humans dotted around the level that you rescue, like most of the games have, and some of them are hidden in the level, so you've got to sort of explore. So what you do in the game, start off left to right shooter, using the left stick to run and the right stick to shoot your gun all around. Okay, so wherever you point your right stick, you'll shoot in that direction. The weird thing about the game is they've had to shake up the controls because of the fact you've got that sort of twin stick mechanic. They wanted to make it so that you could jump around without taking your thumb off the stick to shoot, your right thumb. To do that, they've had to shift where jump would usually say be X or circle.
Mm-hmm.
They've shifted jump up to R1.
Right, okay, got you.
So you've got sort of jump on R1, and then you've got a strike, like a boost, if you like, or an invincible smart bomby kind of attack on L1.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, you can sort of jump around the screen and be constantly shooting all the time. Okay, but it takes some getting used to. It's strange. You can sort of double jump with the R1. You can get around really well, and you can use this sort of. It's called a strike move, and that elongates your jump, and it also attacks. It's kind of a power charge. So if you just press that, you'll sort of turn into energy, and you'll warp forward like a few feet in the game, and anything you touch will take damage, and also freeze. The matter will freeze. You see, I think everything's made of matter in the game, hence the name. And then when they're frozen, they're weaker, so you can take them out quicker.
Right.
So you can do that strike anytime. You can do it sort of just as you're running along, strike into something. You can strike through certain walls. Like if a wall's made out of blue matter, you use the strike to go through it. Otherwise, it will be like a wall, which is kind of good. You can use that as protection against enemy bullets that will hit it. Then when you're ready, you can strike through that wall and attack. You can also, you've got another gun that you can use. It's kind of like a laser beam, and for old timers, it's a bit like Turrican's laser, if you remember the old game Turrican. And that's like a long energy beam, and you can then hold that button, and you can move this instead of just shots, which is your normal gun. This is a long energy beam which you can spin around yourself. Now, that doesn't affect the enemies, but what that does do is it rescues humans that are trapped in matter. And it forms matter from. There'll be invisible platforms that you can just see an outline of.
Right.
And if you fire this at them, then they become whole. So it'll fill them with blue particles, and then you can use them as a platform.
Cool.
And so there's bits of it where you can use that as defense, or you can use that to get to certain places. But using all those things at the same time as not dying and taking down the enemies and keeping up the multiplier is at first challenging, but then really enjoyable. And I love the fact about this game is the tool set that you're given at the start of the game. It's like you should be invincible. You're like, I can do this strike. I'm invincible when I can do the strike. The only thing that can harm me is like red matter, which you can dodge as long as you control your character correctly. And it's kind of like, yeah, but then because they've shaken up the control that little bit, there's a definite learning curve there. And it's your muscle memory's sort of like hooked to pressing X to jump and stuff like that. But once you get into the flow of it, you feel awesome. You feel awesome just raining death around on all these baddies that are flying around you. It's like you're doing like really cool jumps. You'll jump from one platform, and you'll shoot some of the baddies out. Then they'll leave occasionally, randomly. If you shoot like a few of the aliens, they'll leave a matter bomb. And then if you shoot that matter bomb with your energy weapon, not your standard gun, but the long energy beam, then that's like a smart bomb. And they'll chain. So if you cause lots of those matter bombs to appear, you can then hit one and they'll go. They'll chain and they'll just take out everything on the screen, covered in particles. It's like really awesome. So you'll be jumping, like sort of strike through a platform, use your energy beam to make a platform appear, land on that platform, take out a wave of aliens, then hit the energy beam, hit that matter bomb, take those out of the screen, jump through the carnage, through a wall, rescue a human, get an augment. And then just carry on and think, yay, I just got my multiplier has now increased. And you're like, demon. Then you like sort of get hit straight away. And you're like, multiplier down. And you're like, no. So it's got that real arcade vibe about it. It's all about the score. And I'm really enjoying it. So far, I'm on sort of midway through the second level. I've done the first level, done the boss. That was really enjoyable. Spent time adjusting and getting used to the controls. And then exploring the levels. And then I was trying to get my time down to get higher on the leaderboards. Because that's what it's all about. It's about the leaderboards, about the score. It's not about just getting to the end of the level and completing it, which is cool. Obviously, that's a requirement. But like so many of these How Smart games, it's all about doing it without getting hit once to get that multiplier up, doing it with style. It's like kudos, isn't it, on a Project Gotham game or something?
Oh, good call out.
Yeah, it's really good, man. Because basically, the more stylish you do it, you don't get hit. Your multiplier goes up. You get the big score, and you go up the leaderboard. Get the kudos for that. It's really cool. It's frantic. It looks amazing, and it's in HDR. So that's good. I'm not sure about the resolution.
Is it? I was going to say, is it native 4K or is it just?
I'm not sure. There's no way for me to tell.
Right.
Because even the PS4's main screen says the 4K resolution. I couldn't tell you. I haven't seen anything on Digital Foundry to back it up or anything like that. But it's definitely in HDR because it tweaks my settings. And I know it now. I recognise it. It came on and it was bright, and I was like, "Oh man, it's HDR. This is cool." And it's just an enjoyable game. It's just an enjoyable game from Housemarque. If you love shooters, if you love that sort of twin stick shooter, this is a different take on it. I think it's quite a bold move from it. Something different. It sort of combines the exploration of a game like Shadow Complex with a bullet hell twin stick shooter, and I think it does it. And I think it does it really well. And it's not too much money either. I think it's £15.99 on the PlayStation Store.
Wow, so that's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, well worth a punt. It's a good old game. I think. See, I haven't completed it yet, but I think some press have said it's quite short. I'm still having fun with it. I'm finding it fairly challenging. It's got different difficulty modes in it as well. But I don't think it's all about just getting from A to B in this game and completing the game. It's about getting on those leaderboards. It's the same reason I still play Geometry Wars on my Xbox 360. Mm-hmm. I'm still interested in getting that achievement, getting the achievement like last week, getting that 1 million points without dying, getting a bit further up the leaderboard. And I think there's a lot of replayability in that for this game. So that's pretty cool. And the final game I've been playing this week is Nidhogg 2. So Nidhogg 2 is the sequel to Nidhogg, surprisingly. Nidhogg was out, I think, only on PC. And it was quite a hit by all accounts, and it's a game that I always wanted. It might have come out on PlayStation 4 as well, actually, but I've never got around to getting it, and I always wanted it. I regretted not getting it. But I've got Nidhogg 2 now. I've been able to try it out, and it's the PS4 that I'm playing it on.
Right.
And you know something, it's hugely enjoyable. Now, Nidhogg 1 sort of had quite a monochrome graphical style. It's quite stylish in its own way. First thing you notice about Nidhogg 2 that is the difference in graphical style. This is like some kind of, I don't know, it's colourful, it's bright, and it's sort of got a cartoon, it's like a cartoon gore fest in a way. Right. Like Ren and Stimpy gone bananas or something like that. And the characters, they look like they're made out of plasticine or something like that. Right. And they're really bright. You can customise your own character when you start. Mm-hmm. So they're really bright and bold colours. And it just adds to the humour, really. This game, I think, is just really funny. And what do you do in the game? Basically, in this game, whether you're playing single player or two player, single player really is just a tutorial, I would say. The fun is not in the single player. But what the idea of it is, you start off, there's you and there's the enemy character. Mm-hmm. You start off in the middle of a bunch of hallways with a weapon each. You both start with a sword. The idea is one of you has got to get so many screens to the left or right. So if you're starting your character on the left, you've got to get, say, 5 screens to the right to get to the end.
Right.
If you get to the end, you win. How do you know you win? You both really want to be eaten by the Nidhogg. The Nidhogg, I think, is a massive worm from Norse mythology, right? So if you do get to the end, the first time I got to the end of the level, right, you battle to the end of the level, and you get to the end, and you think, woohoo, I've done it, and a worm just comes and eats you, and that's your victory, getting swallowed by a massive worm. But the fun in this game is awesome, okay? I think the first game only had, like, swords, and that was it, but this has got a variety of weapons, and it uses a control mechanic where it's like paper, scissors, stone. Okay, so you've both got your weapons, and say you've both got the same, then you can place your sword. You've got different stances. So up on the D-pad or on the analog stick will move your sword from sort of centre to up to your head, or down for a sort of low piercing stab. Yeah, and then also you can raise it up and throw the sword at your enemy. Right, and you can also roll and try and do a foot sweep as well. All right, and you can also do a jump as well. All right, so those are your basic attacks for every weapon you can pick up, and so you just appear and you rush into each other and you just start trying to sever each other, disembowel each other to death. And if you manage to take down your opponent, you have a few seconds before they respawn to scamper across the level to get further across the screens to your goal. But the opponent will respawn then in front of you after about a second or a couple of seconds. They'll respawn again, with probably a different weapon. So they could have a dagger, which is really fast but has a short range. They could have a really long sword, which is sort of a middle of the road sort of weapon. They can have a bow, an arrow, which they can. It's got a low sort of a low load time, but then obviously it's got range on its side. There's a few different weapons in there. You can just throw, and if you don't know what else to do, you can just pick up your weapon and just throw it at the other guy's head and hope it hits. But the funniest thing is, if you throw it, like I was playing before. I was late for the podcast because I was playing this with Sam. And it was so funny. So we're both trying to leg it to the other side. And I thought, right, I'll get you here, Sam. So I got my bow and arrow and I fired an arrow at him. Yeah. And he placed his sword. I don't know if he did it on purpose because he's like the master or it was an accident, but his sword was at the level of my arrow.
Yeah.
So it basically, my arrow rebounded off his sword and came back and hit me. And that was me dead. And then so he runs past me and then I'm respawning. And then it's just... When you play this game online or local multiplayer, it is just so frantic. It's like you die, you grab your weapon that you just made, so you throw your sword at the opponent, it takes them down. You're like, demon, but you've got no weapon, so you run past them, you roll, you pick up the weapon and you carry on, and you know you've only got seconds before they're going to respawn. They respawn, they're like, well, I'm not happy about just being taken down, so they've got a bow and arrow. Who cares? They just throw that at your head. It hits you because you weren't ready for it. You go down, they run past you, they pick up your sword, and they start scampering the other way.
Wow.
And it's just brilliant, and it's fast, it's furious battle to get to either end of the screen. And I tell you something, even if you're right on your last screen, I think you start in the middle and you fight for dominance over that screen. And if you win, if you're the one that's just taken down the opponent, your arrow will light up, which means you can run your way.
Yes.
Now, this is a really good idea because the guy that's just been beaten can't just retreat and leg it to his side of the screen. You can only make progress if you're the one that's made the last kill.
Got you.
Okay, because otherwise you could just imagine people just trolling it and just running the other way.
Yeah, jumping over the other character and just running.
And it wouldn't work. So you can do jumping over the other character to evade them, but it only gives you any use if you're in control, if you've made that kill and you sort of hold the arrow, because the arrow's like pointing your way. But I tell you, even if you get to the last screen, man, if you fight well, or if you're just lucky, you can fight your way all the way back.
Wow.
And it's frantic, it's funny as heck, you can laugh your head off, but also I played online the other night and I was getting angry. it's like no way you beat them, I swear you think this game could last like a minute or so, but it can last like half an hour. But it never stops. It never stops, man. And as you both skill up as well and get better and get used to the controls, it's so hilarious but so frustrating. And I swear I was battling this guy and he battled me all the way to my last, it's like the final screen, and I was like, oh no, I always lose online, I hate this. And I'd like somehow by some miracle I mustered the skill and I knocked him down and I grabbed his weapon and I got through the next screen and there was a bit of like to and fro in and I got all the way to his final screen. I was like, I'm going to beat you. And then he took me down, and then for some reason I just couldn't do it, and he knocked me down on every screen, just went poof, 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 and just got all the way to the end, and I was like, no! I tell you, man, it was worse than that. I sort of raised up, and I was like, you! Oh, man. But then after the dust had settled, I was like, that was such a lot of fun, and it was constant sort of adrenaline, believe it or not, the whole time.
Sounds awesome.
It's a really great game. As I say, don't be buying it for single player. You won't get what this game is about from it. All you're getting from there is a rudimentary idea of what the game does. But it does local co-op and online co-op. Both are a lot of fun. But local co-op, man, after a couple of beers...
Oh, man. That
is
sounds
really
terrible.
good.
That sounds like so much fun. So is it only 2 players? Is it like 1 to 2 players only?
As far as I can see, but on the online, and I haven't really explored this enough, there's like a tournament with like 8 players, but I think it works like a league. It works like a league. So the first 2 players, battle it out, and then the next 2, and then it goes through a league to a semi-final and a final.
Oh, right. Oh, that's so cool.
So that could be really fun. I don't know how it works because I haven't played that online yet. I've just seen it in the options. But can you imagine if we got a few guys together and then we all spectate at each other's battles? Yes. Honestly, man, it's worth buying for a Friday night of that. I will research that tournament option.
Yes.
And if it's like that, we should really try and recruit some guys to do this because I think that could be hilarious, especially if we could all spectate.
Yes,
it's a great game.
Plug up my PlayStation 4 because at the moment, because of the flood, the PlayStation 4 is just sitting next to me, actually, kind of looking very sad and very unplugged. But I need to plug it up because we've got Uncharted coming out tomorrow, Uncharted Lost Legacy, and also I've got to play this. While you were talking, I had a quick look to see what the screens look like. It looks bonkers.
It really is. It's just Fast and Furious, man. And this is cheaper than Matterfall. This is £11.99 on the PlayStation Store. Probably a bit cheaper on PC. Not really sure. But yeah, I feel like I got all that out now. It's just a lot of fun. It reminded me of playing Joust when I was little with my mate.
Right.
And me and my mate, the only trouble with that comparison is me and my mate used to start to hate each other when we were playing Joust, because we'd say, right, we won't hit each other, and then invariably one of us would knock each other off the ostrich, and we ended up rolling around the floor giving each other dead arms because we were that annoyed. But I suppose if we play this online, we can't get to each other.
So if there's no Lost Spark pod next week, it's because we fell out over Nidhogg.
Yeah, we're in a stump over Nidhogg. But honestly, it's really funny. You do get a bit angry, but it's a whole lot of fun, man, and well worth it.
It sounds like the perfect thing for like a Friday night after a couple of beers, like you say, like co-op or even online, a couple of beers just to kind of loosen up and then just go jump in.
Totally, man. Or maybe disagreements should be settled through it.
Yes.
But the element of luck probably...
It's like, right, to Nidhogg we go.
Yeah, it's the new duel. It's like, right, I challenge you to a game of Nidhogg. We'll sort this out in the gentlemanly fashion. Yeah.
Whoever gets eaten by a worm wins.
Yeah, and that's your reward, getting gobbled up by this disgusting worm. But yeah, it's very cartoony, very fun. When they get taken out, they just sort of... it's like plastic just runs everywhere. It's very funny. So yeah, I'd recommend that.
Awesome.
That's my week. What about you? What have you been playing, mate?
Well, I've been very much kind of on the Switch, as you can see from the games I've been playing, and I've been still playing Splatoon 2. I've still been playing Splatoon. Haven't really been playing it online. I've been playing more kind of offline on commutes and stuff like that, and kind of maybe sitting in bed and just going through the single player. But I'm pretty much kind of done with the single player, kind of going through that, and that's been great fun. Every now and then I just kind of jump online for a quick game, see if anyone's online, but just kind of jump online for a quick game, and I'm just absolutely loving it. It really is. It's really interesting because my next Boomerang game is due. So my next Boomerang game, which is going to be Mario plus Rabbids, kind of on Switch, that is next week. So I'm very tempted to, especially as I was the first person to kind of use this cartridge, this Splatoon cartridge. I'm very tempted to do the buy it option for the very first time with Boomerang, because I kind of don't want to give it back, but I want Mario plus Rabbids. So it's kind of and then I might as well just keep going with my Boomerang kind of thing, because there's lots of stuff that I want from Boomerang. There's like Mario plus Rabbids, there's Everybody's Golf, there's lots of stuff there. So I just want to kind of so I think I might just kind of buy it from Boomerang and just kind of see what the price is.
Yeah, you've had it from new. I was going to ask you've had it from new anyway, haven't you? So
yeah, absolutely.
Do you save a lot of money if you do that, or do you not know?
I don't know. I really don't know what the cost is kind of, if that's, now it's been out a couple of weeks, it's still kind of high in the charts, so whether they're still going to give it as a premium title. But, I'm playing it, and Nicola was saying the other day, she was looking at my screen when I was playing through the single player, and she goes, oh, that looks actually quite cool, and she was like, I might play that next, after Zelda. So it might be worthwhile that we can just kind of pass the cartridge backwards and forwards. Yeah,
absolutely. And if she enjoyed it, you could both get it, couldn't you? Or you could upgrade your Boomerang to 2 titles for an extra £5.
Yeah. And just get it and just have a quick kind of game of like the Salmon Run or something like that. So
yeah.
But absolutely, but it's just absolutely fantastic, and I'm really enjoying it. And this weekend, and the reason why I'm hesitant, because I was like, right, I'm going to stick it back in the post. And then I read online today that there's going to be a new content drop this weekend, so there's going to be new weapons and a new level as well. So I was just like, so maybe this is what Splatoon's going to be. It's a long-term thing that you jump in every now and then, play some new, because I think this one's a ship. It looks like a ship. It looks quite cool. They haven't said what the new weapons are, but there was kind of like almost a mini direct today for Splatoon, and they were just saying that the stuff comes on Friday.
They did that like with Splatoon 1. It was a similar model, yeah. When it was released, it was a fun game, much like this one, but maybe there wasn't loads of content. But over the life of the game, they dropped more and more content to it,
right?
And it grew and evolved from that. So it sounds like they're doing the same thing. The same thing they're doing with ARMS, I think, as well.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you say, like kind of get new content all the time. They kind of mix up the hoppers and say, right, okay, you're playing this map now this week, or so. Yeah, it looks quite cool. So I was just thinking, I'll have a look after the pod and see how much it is just to buy it outright, I guess.
Yeah, interesting tactic, and if it stops people selling the game, it's stopping that pre-owned market that Nintendo, or no publisher really want a thriving pre-owned market. That's just for the games and the GameStops to thrive on, isn't it? But it's an interesting one if it keeps the value there. Are they free? Is it a free content drop as well?
Yeah, free content drop. So it's,
cool.
You're not paying for it. It's just continue, just kind of giving you kind of. Let's say they're just switching up the hopper, so it's like all you can do is go into this map, and these new weapons are in the rotation.
Cool. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So Splatoon been playing a lot of that, and then the Chesson household this weekend has been playing a lot of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. We've been playing Trial of the Sword. So Nicola has got big into Trial of the Sword. So she has got into this kind of, and I've started as well. Now, what Trial of the Sword is with the new DLC, you go to the Forbidden Forest, and you have a way of putting your Master Sword in and charging. Because as you know, when you get the Master Sword, it depletes over time, and then you have to put it away. You wait for it, and then you can then kind of continue using it. Well, the Trial of the Sword, what it does is it increases the power of your Master Sword to the point where it will actually have it as it's permanently charged.
Oh, wow. As it should be.
Yeah, so there's 3 sections to the Trial of the Sword. So Nicola has now finished the Trial of the Sword. She completed it. I'm still on the first one, the first trial, and she's finished all 3. So there's 3 trials, and it's 12 levels, and 23 levels. And they just get harder in difficulty. I mean, they are giving you bare minimum to this trial. You have no clothes in the first one. You've just got your standard kind of characters, your standard enemies, and you finish with a Hinox. But you lose everything. So it's a bit like Eventide Island. You go in, you're completely naked.
Is it an island, or is it rooms? Is it in a dungeon?
It's an enclosed area. So it's an enclosed area, and then especially on the first one, the easy one, it's just the same kind of area. It's like you can see the walls. It's very kind of looks like Zelda. You can see the walls, and there's lots of like trees and water and everything in there. And then you can then just take them out, and there is food. Occasionally you will get a chest, and you will get some food, and the big hint is chop down every tree, get every acorn, because you really do need to. One of the hints that Nicola gave me was, before you go into this, make sure you have charged up all of your hearts, because the only thing you do go in with is your hearts. So if you go in and you've only got 4 hearts, you're only going to start with 4 hearts. So make sure you get something that maybe even overfills your hearts, and you get the yellow ones. And so then you go through, you picking up weapons, and they're getting harder and harder. And like I say, the first one finishes level 12, is like this Hinox, and it keeps killing me, it keeps taking me out, so I keep having to go to the start. But what Nicola's now done, she's done that one, she's done the second one, and now when she dies, she just goes back to the lobby of the next round. Almost, it's like, so she'll go to almost kind of level 13, if you will, but kind of
dying on the Hinox.
2-1, yeah. So
dying on the Hinox is a massive ball ache.
Exactly.
You're like 1 away from starting again on 13. Can you use your special powers? Can you use the stasis and stuff like that?
They're all gone. Oh, well, no, stasis is there. All of your so your magnet, stasis, ice, and the bombs, they're all there. But your special powers that you're picking up from the Guardians, or from the whatever they're called, those are gone.
Oh, okay.
So you've got no kind of flight.
So can you just sort of spam freeze the Hinox to victory?
Yes, and that's what you do a lot. That's what you do.
They should take it away.
But then, so you have that. So you kind of play through that, and then other weekend it was so funny. We were going to go out on we watched an episode of Defenders, and then Nicola was playing that, and it was like, right, okay, we needed to pop out to pick up some stuff, and so she was like, I'm on level 20, and so I watched with Nicola. I watched level 20 to 23. I watched her do that, and it was so tense. It was like she was at one point where she was losing energy because she had She was in the cold. So what she did was got her flame sword out and just kind of put her flame sword on her back, and that kept her warm. And then it was just that sort of stuff. And she was just going through it, and the last 3 levels were so hard. They just looked so hard, but she managed to do it. There was absolute elation and high fives and whoops all around the Chesson household when she did it. Made me feel, I'm like, I really need to try and do that. And that's why I've been playing it a lot this week, because I'm like, I really need to try and do this. But yeah, so she went through and just kind of completed the Trial of the Sword. So she's just kind of, she's still on that quest for those last 2, the Korok and the Ruin and the Temple, but apart from that, or Shrine, that's what I'm trying to. But apart from that, but this Trial of the Sword it's so much fun, because it really does get tense, because especially in the last section, because you're given right at the start, you're given Guardian arrows. You're only given about 5 Guardian arrows, but there's a lot of Guardians. And what Nicola found out, again, another kind of really cool tip, is that the Guardian arrows take out what are those guys that are kind of half horse? I had it. Lionel. Yeah. A Lionel. A Guardian arrow will take out a Lionel in 1 shot.
Will it indeed?
Yes.
That's interesting. I never fired oh no, maybe it's Ancient Arrow I haven't fired.
That's it, and that's what I'm talking about.
Oh right, yeah. I haven't
the Guardian arrows. Yeah. So the Ancient Arrows.
I'm always like that with games. I get something that sounds amazing, and I'll not use it through the entire game because I'm too scared that I might need it up to completion. It's ridiculous.
The great thing about the Ancient Arrows throughout the entire game, there is an area where you can keep going and kind of making more. All you need is lots of cogs and stuff like that, and cogs and cores.
Oh yeah, and I think I've been there.
You can keep making them. So I never ran out of Guardian, especially when I found out what it did, and when I took on the castle, I never ran out of the Guardian arrows. There was always one free, because if you get one of those Guardians kind of dead in the eye with an Ancient Arrow, it just blows up straight away. But what Nicola found was that she could hide behind the tree. The Lionel came up to the tree. She just kind of popped out, shot him, and he was gone. And I was just like, that was so. She was saving her Ancient Arrows for that. It was just it was so good to watch. It was really cool.
Well worth stocking up on those then.
It really was. So it was worthwhile. It was just so much fun just kind of watching her kind of do that. It was very tense. At one point, I walked out of the room and I was like, no, I'll come back. I'll work, but I'm just sitting here and I'm being incredibly quiet. Yeah,
because you know it's going to be your fault. If
exactly.
You just rustle.
Yeah. If I'm like, you need to go over there, she'll be like, shut up, don't stress me, and then she'll die, and then that sort of stuff. But it was just, it was really good fun. Really worth, if you bought the DLC, and it's really worth kind of having a try of it. And like I say, I'm doing a long commute tomorrow, and I've already charged my Switch up, ready to kind of jump into that.
Oh, that's great. That paints such a great picture for me. That's really good. I'm looking forward to playing it now. I haven't bought it yet, obviously, because I haven't completed the game. But it's like, that's given me something. It's warmed my Zelda heart.
But you know what would be really cool, and this is some of the things that we were chatting about on Sunday after we completed it, was that if we'd have had this DLC when we still had a lot more of the game to go, because charging up your Master Sword so it never goes down would be really helpful, especially against some of the bigger characters that are coming along later, and all of the other stuff that you're picking up as you're kind of going through would have been really helpful, would have been really cool.
Yeah, I like Zelda, but I'm not a great fan of the weapon degradation. Really not, and especially on the Master Sword. They kind of could have got away with it if everything's breaking. You've got these metal swords, the Knight Sword, they're all breaking. But then I did expect the Master Sword to sort of be invulnerable, immune to that, and the fact that that's got it as well, it's just kind of like Though that's another thing. You see, I've used my Master Sword about twice. And by twice I mean 2 slashes.
Wow!
And I put it away because I was scared of it breaking, because I didn't know what happened.
It never breaks. It just says your Master Sword has run out of power. You then have to return it back, just into your inventory, and you have to wait about 20 minutes and it's charged up again.
Oh, okay. Does it chop though? Can you use it when it's run out of power and it's just weaker, or does it not? It doesn't cause any damage.
You just can't use it. So you then just all you do is just go to your inventory, just choose your next weapon, and then it comes up and it says your Master Sword has been restored.
Oh, okay. I was too scared to do it.
Unless you're Nicola, because it now never deteriorates. It just keeps going. And it's
earned it.
It's an extra 20. It's an extra 20 hit points as well now. So it's gone from 40 to 60.
Interesting.
Very
so
cool.
It's as a seasoned Zelda guy or a Breath of the Wild guy, would you recommend completing the game if you've got the DLC, but you haven't completed the game, or if you're like me and you've got the game, you haven't completed it, and you haven't bought the DLC? What would your path be? Would you say get the DLC and do that before completing the game, and that would give you a happier voyage, a happier journey through the game? Or would you say that the way that they've done it in bringing the game out in the DLC later to give everyone a chance to complete it first, would you say that's your preferred way? Have you got a preferred way, or is it just with Zelda? I got a question about Zelda, and my answer was, I got a question: which divine beast should I go for first? Is that the right one? And I said, there is no right and wrong in Zelda. Your way is the right way for you.
Yeah.
And that's it. So would you just say that that's the answer, or would you think that doing the DLC before completing it would be better?
I really think, as I was saying, like we were chatting the weekend, and if I was in your shoes, and I know you've still got one Divine Beast left to go, I would now go and play the DLC. Because, when you get the Korok Mask, when you get all of that, the Korok Mask is going to help you find more Koroks. The more of those you find, the more weapons you're going to be able to hold. It will just round out your experience just a little bit more.
Is it not cheating though? Does it not give you an edge? Does it give you an edge? Does it make it easier?
You're playing the game.
Yeah. What does that mean?
You're being too hard. I'm saying you're being too hard on yourself. Not using your Master Sword as soon as you got it. As soon as you get that Master Sword, you should be rocking that.
I didn't want it to break. I didn't want it to break.
And it's never going to break. So you need to just rock that with pride.
I might have to put it on there.
You need to use your freezing. You need to use your stasis on all enemies, because that's how you do it. It's not cheating. I can see you convulsing, but that's not cheating. That is how you play Zelda.
Like I said before about never using the ancient arrows. It's like, Fallout 4, I never used the suit. Because I never used the suit. I didn't think it was cheating.
There's places that people like you should go, honestly. We need to have a little therapy session, I think. So,
I know, I'm merciless on myself.
Before we go down this incredibly dark rabbit hole, let's start the news section. But before we start the news section, don't forget, you can rate, review and subscribe to this very podcast for free on iTunes, YouTube and other services. Right, let's kick off this news. We've got a big one. And in this week's news section, it's all about Xbox Scorpio and that Microsoft briefing. A brand new Planet of the Apes game has been announced, and not to be outdone by Microsoft, Sony reveal a new PlayStation 4 edition. But Daz, let's kick off this Microsoft conference. And so Sunday, Gamescom, Germany, all of these things happened, and so did the Microsoft conference. So we had a 90-minute Microsoft conference on Sunday. It started at 8 o'clock GMT, British Standard Time. It started at 8 o'clock, and it was, I must admit, I have to give props to Graham Boyd, AC Bongos, and Julia Harding. I thought they did a really good job at presenting this mess. I thought they did a really good job at presenting this Gamescom thing. It's really nice. As much as I love Major Nelson and I think he's fun, I really like seeing someone else. I really like seeing Julia and Graham kind of rocking this. The one thing that was slightly suspicious, I think that's the first piece of news that you've got in the news section. But there was a title that no one talked about. Do you want to fill us in what I'm talking about there?
Yeah, so the elephant in the room, I think, was Crackdown 3.
Yeah, absolutely, ginormously.
Yeah, that we just got that information, haven't we? That it'd been, not just. We had the info out there for a week that Crackdown had been delayed until spring 2018. So it was due on 7th of November.
Yes.
So imminent, really, pretty imminent.
It was coming out the same day as the Xbox One X, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. It was kind of the best thing they had to push with it, wasn't it? That was the thing that to me, I'm not that interested in Crackdown 3, but to me, that was the hand in hand.
Yes.
Promotion. That was the launch. That was the bit of it. The extra impetus was like Crackdown 3, Xbox One X, get them together. Here we go. But it's not to be, because we got the information. There's been a delay. What did they say? Crackdown 3 campaign co-op and Wrecking Zone is moving to spring 18, so we can make sure we deliver all the awesome that Crackdown fans want. That was from Shannon Loftis, who is Microsoft Studios publishing general manager. I shouldn't really need to go into detail about Crackdown 3 campaign co-op and Wrecking Zone is moving to spring 2018. That's as if there's some shifty mode that's still on schedule. I'd have just said Crackdown 3 is being delayed. So we've said this many times. It's better for it to be delayed and be good than come out rushed and not be good. But you know what? When was it they announced this? 2014 E3.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were all expecting it with the Xbox One.
Yeah, we really was. Yeah.
So, I don't know what's going on with that development, but obviously it's going through stormy waters, and it has been through. Well, maybe it's through the stormy waters now, but it's hit some stormy times on it through its development, and hopefully they can see the light at the end of the tunnel for I don't know, March next year.
I think deeper into that press conference, that press release about Crackdown 3, they were saying that they have taken feedback after E3. People were saying, because I don't think people were blown away because this was the kind of Xbox One X title. I don't think people were blown away by the graphics. So they have they're taking extra time to kind of improve the graphics as well. And so I think it's all of that. I think it's a case of, if this is what you're showing off when you release Xbox One X, and this is what you're showing off, and it doesn't look as good as everyone's expecting, that's going to set the kind of bar low, isn't it? People are going, well, it's not that good, I won't bother with one. I mean, judging by, and we might as well just kind of skip around the kind of media briefing, but kind of judging by kind of the response that's come out since they announced that you can pre-order, the pre-orders have sold out everywhere. So is this right that they should move Crackdown? Because I think my biggest problem that I have now is, what have we got? What have we got from? I mean, okay, we've got lots of titles. We've got lots of third-party titles that are going to get us through the year. We're not starved. There's a big backlog of games, but I'm absolutely in awe with the Xbox One X, and we'll talk a bit more about it in a moment. It's what I've always wanted. Same with you as well. We've always wanted this small form factor PC under my TV, powering our 4K TVs with some content. This is it. This is what the Scorpio is, even more so than the PlayStation 4 Pro. And so this is it. But I just wanted some games. We're going to have Forza. Forza comes out in October. I've already pre-ordered Forza, but it's going to be tough not to play that for a month, and I probably will. I think James said it right on Twitter. It was like, you're going to play it. I've got the Ultimate Edition, so I get it 3 days earlier. But I kind of want to play it at its optimum, which is going to be that 4K. And I don't want to be, and I say this kind of like, I don't want to sound like an entitled gamer, but I don't want to be bored of it when the Xbox One X comes out. I don't want to have played it so much that I'm nonchalant about it, but I just want to, so I don't know whether to wait. But I was really hoping that Crackdown was going to be that one, that game, because Nicola and I really like Crackdown. We really enjoy it.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head here. It's like there isn't a USP to push the Xbox One X out there into the realms of, oh my goodness me, this is amazing. It's like nobody can have any qualms with the fact that it's the MPC, the most powerful console. Mm-hmm. I think they like, we know that because that is firmly in the marketing lexicon now for Microsoft. Most powerful console. Did you know this is the most powerful console? It's kind of,
I heard it about 100 times during that conference that I watched.
yeah, and it's like, yes, it is the most powerful console. But why aren't you showing me what it can do? It's all very well if I can run benchmark software and this will say that it'll do this and it'll do that. Give me some content that's taking advantage of the fact that it can do this and it can do that. And Crackdown, though, it was underwhelming when they showed it, which is if that's why they delayed it, then that's fine. But that was the best they had, wasn't it? That was the sort of hand-in-hand release that would keep people happy that had bought one. But I don't know if it would have done, because if it just played the same on the S, if everyone on an Xbox One S is sort of like, well, it's just fine on the S. I mean, I know all the games are going to play on both, but to justify the extra outlay, you would expect that they had something really, shiny and sort of jaw-dropping to go hand-in-hand with it, and they haven't. And they've had a problem, really, with getting that content for 2017, really. E3 has been disappointing on exclusives, and it's really, I can't get my head around it, because it's, I think we were both expecting, because of the Xbox One X unveil, that E3 would have, that they were just being quiet because they had it all stored for E3, and we were going to get hit with like kind of titles along the like Anthem, but lots of them and coming up on release. Like a few release titles, and they didn't appear. And, and you've got like Super Lucky's Tale.
Yeah,
it's just like, what's that about? That's not going to sell it. But you make another brilliant point that regardless of the content that's available, they've all sold out.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, well, why worry?
Yeah.
Why worry about? I mean, me and you're going to moan about it. Me and you both pre-ordered it, and then I'm sort of like banging my head against the wall, saying, "Why am I pre-ordering this? Why am I buying it? Because if I do buy it, I don't want to open it, put it out, hook it up, and then be like, okay,
let's play Super Lucky's Tale on it.
I'll put Minecraft on,
super duper graphics mode, yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I want something like Horizon. I expected something along the lines of Xbox's versions, not copies, but Xbox's Horizon Zero Dawn. Things like that. And the thing is, and I mean, Anthem's multi-platform anyway, and I don't even care if it's exclusive or not. But what we want, like the best version of whatever, like if Star Wars Battlefront came out on the 7th and it was best on Xbox One X, and it was noticeably different, noticeably better. But I don't feel that we've got that. But then it kind of doesn't matter because everyone's buying it anyway.
Well, exactly.
Like the marketing team have just said it doesn't matter anymore if we say that it's more powerful, because there is a temptation with that.
Yeah,
we'll all go out and buy it.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, if we're all going to carry on and buying it, well, how is that showing them that they've got to get the finger out and get more exclusives because we're just going to buy them anyway? But I suppose the figures will speak for themselves eventually.
Well, exactly. I mean, Microsoft have released a list of over 100 games that are kind of, better on Xbox One X. They've kind of released kind of better on Xbox One X, and some of them, I'll stick a link in the show notes so you can see. And there's lots of kind of like Fallout 4 is now going to run 4K, 30 frames per second. Gears of War will be 4K HDR 60 frames a second. So this link that I'm going to send it to is really cool because it's not only kind of like, it's going to run HDR, it's actually going to tell you kind of what it's running, whether it's 4K or whether it's... And it's really interesting because Star Wars Battlefront 2 is on that list, but it doesn't tell you what those enhancements are for the Xbox One X. But it does kind of go into, Sea of Thieves. It's got Sea of Thieves down here. That's going to be 4K HDR.
Cool.
Hitman is 4K HDR. That's running that on PlayStation Pro at the moment. Really, one of the really interesting ones was The Division, because The Division is going to... I can't find it now, but the Division is like HDR, 4K HDR. So I'm like, I want to jump back into The Division. I just want to see what that looks, because The Division was gorgeous, and in when I was playing it when it came out, and that was absolutely amazing. So I want to kind of jump in and just see Firewatch is on there. You know how much I love Firewatch.
Oh yeah.
And there's lots of games that Rhyme is going to get a 4K bump. There's loads of games in here that are going to get a HDR. Chess Ultra, that game we just can't stop playing. That's going to be 4K HDR 60 frames a second. Assassin's Creed Origins, which could be that game that you end up playing, that's going to be 4K HDR 30 frames a second. So there's a lot on here, and I'll stick that link on the show notes. There's a lot of kind of like, here's a game I've already played and it's going to look a little bit shinier, but I really wanted that new game. If that was Sea of Thieves, if that was Crackdown, if that was something, because this year Microsoft have the first party, Microsoft have released Halo Wars 2, and they're going to release Forza 7.
Yeah, I know. It's slim pickings, isn't it? And it's great that... I know. It's great that it does that to all those other games, and that's great as a bonus, but where's the main course? That's great as an hors d'oeuvre, or that's great as dessert. That's all gravy, but I want my dessert. I want my main course. I want my show-stopping game that shows it. And you're right with you've got these games coming in spring. Crackdown's coming in spring now. Sea of Thieves is coming in spring. These are games that presumably are going to take into a lot of the Xbox One X's power into account. We hope. Why then? Why bring Xbox One X now? Why bring it out now to
Why not bring it out in spring?
With a fanfare of games. Yeah. Why not just hold it until the games come out instead of bringing it out in an underwhelming release schedule? But then who cares if they're not, if everyone's buying it anyway?
Yeah.
This is the trouble. You can always just come back to that. If everyone's buying it anyway, I mean, you don't think you can get the standard edition yet, can you? It was just the Project Scorpio edition.
Yeah, we'll get to that bit in a mo. But
they're all out. They're all out of stock. So
yes.
What's the point? Why not just release everything? Just sell things on hardware, and if the masses, and I'm included in this because I've got mine pre-ordered tentatively, but I'm questioning myself here. I'm totally questioning myself. Why am I going to throw 450 quid at a machine? Well, where's the benefit? That's what I'm asking myself. Where's the benefit?
See,
I've got an S already.
Yeah, for me, it's all about having 4K content for my 4K TV. You know, that's what's spurring me on, and that's what Microsoft are aware of. What annoys me is that, you know, Phil stood up in 2016, you know, in the E3 2016, and went, you know, we've listened to you, we've built the most powerful console. And you're right, what you just said just a moment ago was right. You know, where's the games for this? They've had a year and a half to. They teased us in 2016. They showed us more in 2017, and now they're releasing it in November and nothing. So does this mean? I mean, one of the things I've been thinking about since that event on Sunday is like, does this mean that Christmas holiday, autumn, winter? Does that mean that is now just multi-platform titles? That is EA, Call of Duty, Activision. You know, that kind of, it's your FIFAs, it's your Assassin's Creed, it's your Far Cry's. Is that what the holiday season is now? It's these kind of multi-platform. And then, because if you look at this spring, Sony came out with Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, they came out with the previous year, I think it was Bloodborne. You know, so does that mean that all of the first party titles we now get spring, and all of the Christmas titles are all of these big blockbusters?
Yeah, maybe, and maybe Nintendo are following that pattern with their release of the Switch, the way they did that. It was earlier in the year, wasn't it?
I just hope Mario doesn't get delayed.
I don't know. I don't think it will. I think that's set. I think you can rely on Nintendo when they set a date. But yeah, I think you might be right. I think there might be a switch there that you get your sort of multi-plats all come out in the holiday season, and then they bring out your single player, or not your single player, sorry, your single format exclusives or your first party exclusives after Christmas, and then the clean up on all that holiday money that's been given to everybody.
Yeah, because if you look
People
at this,
are a bit flush.
Spring 2018 is bringing us Sea of Thieves, Crackdown, and State of Decay 2. Now, for me, that's a lot of gaming in there. Yeah, that is a lot of gaming, and I want to play all of those three games. And that's why I'm not angry, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed, Microsoft. You know, I'm just like, because there's a lot of games to be played there, and you know, I know I'm going to be playing Battlefront. I'm going to be playing a lot of Battlefront. I'm going to be playing Destiny. I'm going to be playing Call of Duty. So I've got games to kind of take me through, and then we've got Life is Strange and all of those other games. But there's a lot of games there. There's a lot of gaming there that they're going to stick into the spring. You and I and all of our kind of friends, we like to play all these kind of latest games. But I'm not going to be able to kind of stick a lot of time into State of Decay 2 because there's going to be other delights that are going to be coming out. Nicola and I love Crackdown. We love hunting for orbs. So we're going to want to kind of play that, you know, and it's that's what kind of, I don't want them to be spaced out even more. I don't want them to bring Crackdown out in the summer. But it was quite nice having Crackdown, one of those games, like kind of this year, so we could space it out. But now they've just moved it, and I know it could never be an easy decision to move a game. And as we've always said, it's better to have a better game than something that comes out and it's just 6 out of 10 and it's broken. But it's just disappointing that this was the launch game. This was that power of Xbox One X, and now, you know, we've got a load of up-resed old titles, and we've got Forza.
Yeah, but even Crackdown 3 didn't show what people were expecting from the power of Xbox One X.
No.
So I suppose moving it's still bad though, because you just sort of wanted a new exclusive with it. I'm with you. You know, I'm disappointed. As I just said, you know, with the advent of Scorpio, of Xbox One X coming, I really, really firmly believed and trusted that Microsoft was just being quiet and that they had a load of exclusives just ready because they've got all this money and they know what they're doing. They've been in the industry now for years. And I'm bewildered.
Yeah.
I'm bewildered. I'm that much in disbelief that I'm still thinking underneath it all that they're just waiting. And that they're gonna announce some stuff, because that's how much I can't believe it.
They go, here's Viva Pinata 3 in 4K HDR. But my thing is that when they started the show on Sunday, because it wasn't, I think maybe people's expectation, mine included, was that we were waiting for a E3 style conference. When it kind of opened, it was just Graham and Julia and this other girl whose name skips me, but when it was just them sitting on a couch, I was like, oh, okay, this could still be very interesting, this could be good, we've got this will be really good. And the fact that they were just showing the same stuff that we got from E3, the same stuff, they went 7 world premiere exclusives. I was like, holy moly, we're going to get some good games here. Click my pen, had my pad ready, I just put my pad away. I just didn't care at some point. I sat there, and honestly, I'm a very upbeat, a very positive guy, but at the end of that conference, I was grumpy. Nicola came down and she was like, what? Because she watched the start and she was like, oh, I'm going up to bed because this isn't kind of like, this isn't my thing. And then she kind of came down and she went, what's up? And I'm like, we could have watched more Defenders. I've just wasted 90 minutes of my Sunday night. I've just gone from like kind of 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I've just wasted this time because they gave us nothing new. we got to talk about the positives in a minute. We've got to talk about the other stuff that's there, but they really gave us nothing. The Sea of Thieves guys came on, told us that there's cross-play, which I'm pretty much sure they'd already told us before, but they said it was a brand new announcement, so I'll take them from that. That you can play cross-play with PC and Xbox, which is great. We had an update on Super Lucky's Town, which we've already had. We had some DLCs for stuff, and the biggest kicker was that they had the PUBG guy. We haven't really spoken a lot about PUBG, about PlayerUnknown Battleground, because we're not really PC gamers, so it's not it's not on our radar, it's not in our wheelhouse at the moment, but it's coming to Xbox. And so they brought the PUBG guy out, and I was thinking, right, okay, they're moving, Crackdown's been moved, PUBG's going to come out the same day as the Xbox One X. And all he could say was sometime in 2017. Sometime. We're in August. We're almost in September. It's just like, and he couldn't give a date for that. I thought, after all of the stuff that Microsoft that you have kind of failing on, maybe giving a date for PUBG could have got a lot of people excited.
Yeah, and there's a lot of controversy that's only going to be a timed exclusive anyway.
Yeah, but it's coming to preview program, isn't it? So it's coming to the preview program. So I would probably expect it to be kind of exclusive until because it's not even out of it. Correct me if I'm wrong, because like I say, I don't know that much about it apart from I'm intrigued by it. But it's still in beta, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still in beta.
It's like Minecraft,
wildly popular. Yeah. Which, people are having fun with it. Obviously, it's massive. But yeah, and I don't like this sort of how can I put this? This trivializationing, if you like, of the word exclusive. It's like everything's an exclusive between 12 o'clock and 3 p.m. On 3 Sundays in each month. It's kind of like when you go to the fair and they go, you can win any prize as long as it's here. It's between this shelf and this shelf, and it's between 12 o'clock and 12:30. It's like. An exclusive used to be just an exclusive, and now it's like exclusive's got loads of caveats underneath it. There's like asterisk after exclusive.
Yes.
It's like exclusive will mean that this will be on this exclusive to this just for early access or something like that. And it's just like, just leave it alone. These days, you need to go with research with a magnifying glass to find out what an exclusive means. Because exclusive, you can't just bank on an exclusive meaning that's exclusive anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, is it exclusive for 6 weeks? Is it exclusive? I can't even be bothered. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, there were some positives.
There was. Let's hit those because that's what we're about. So let's
absolutely. I think one of the biggest positives, Anthony, was kudos to QVC for lending them the set. It was ever so gracious of the QVC guys to lend their studio for the conference.
QVC Germany. Oh, that's superb. But yes, so the let's go through those positives. And the positives were Xbox One X is now available for pre-order. If you're listening to this, you're probably going to be slim pickings for pre-order. I did have a look just before we went onto the show. Microsoft Store still has a green pre-order button, but Amazon is now sold out. Now, what went up for pre-order, and I do like this, and I do love this so much, is that we have the Xbox One Project Scorpio edition. So, we've had code names before. We've had Dolphin. We've had, I'm blanking now on the Xbox One, which was turned into Kinect. Where's James when we need him? There was all of that. We've had all of these code names, and code names don't normally stick with that final version. But for some reason, Microsoft have realised that the fan base, the core fans, you and I, our listeners, that we've realised that people like that. So what they've done is they've brought out an Xbox One Project Scorpio edition, and the thing that I love the most is the box. I shouldn't say this, but I really do. It's like I'm a kid, when you give them something, they just end up playing with the box. But the box that the Project Scorpio edition comes in looks like the OG Xbox. So it's black, it's got the X on it, and it's got the kind of corners, the little corner triangle quadrants to kind of left and right are all kind of like it's different, a different effect, which really does accentuate the X. And it just looks absolutely superb. It looks sexy, is what it looks.
Yeah, it's a nice, lovely box, nice unit. Nice white gloves from Major Nelson as he demonstrated in unboxing it from the other side of the world.
They were awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I like it. I'd like to see. I'd like to see them both standing next to each other. Do you know what I mean? The standard and the Project Scorpio edition. I'd love to see them both standing next to each other on the same table.
Have they showed the standard one yet? Because
unless that was the one they got out at E3, which did look similar,
right?
But I'm not sure. I just like to see them both. But I think it's a shame that you can only it seems strange that I thought that both on Amazon you could pre-order only the Project Scorpio version.
Yes,
the standard edition was grayed out.
Yes,
I thought that was a bit strange.
This is just a bit like the day one Xbox One, isn't it?
Yeah, so I suppose the standard doesn't open till the day one kind of version.
Yes,
sells out.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a nice touch. I like that they sort of had that tip of the hat and that respect to the start of it all with the original Xbox, didn't they? It's quite nice.
So it looks very nice. It's very sleek lines. I think you commented it kind of almost has that PlayStation kind of step, from the kind of original. Like
a PS2, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. What you get in the Project Scorpio box is you get an exclusive stand. Whoa. You get an exclusive stand, which is only for the Project Scorpio edition. I believe Microsoft have now said in a press release after that you will be able to buy that stand for the standard edition, but it comes free in the box. And actually, do you know what? At one point, because we are kind of redesigning the movie room now, I was thinking I might actually have that out. Because I like it. It looks very nice, and so it's very sleek. It's very very smooth. And then down the front on the left, it just says the words Project Scorpio in Xbox green. It says Project Scorpio. It also says Project Scorpio on the controller as well. I wasn't a big fan of the controller, but it says kind of Project Scorpio on the controller. But, I've got... do you know what? I was actually expecting them to put in an Elite controller in here. For $450, $499 if you're in the US, I was really expecting that maybe they would kind of bundle in an Elite controller, because this is your high end Xbox, isn't it? This is the kind of top
premium.
Of the range. Yeah. Exactly, it is that premium Xbox. And I was like, oh, is that like an Elite controller? But it wasn't.
No, it was just a standard controller. I saw as the pre-orders went up. I quite like the deal. I think it was GameStop in the US were doing, or maybe are doing. And I don't think we had any shop that did this, which was a shame. But GameStop had one of those things where they were doing a $200 trade-in on your Xbox One S.
Oh, okay.
If you agreed to step up and pre-order.
Yes.
And I thought that was a good deal. I was thinking, I wish that a shop here did it, because I'd probably done that, because I'm probably gonna get rid of my Xbox One S if I get an X. I mean, you've got two S's now.
No, I have a day one and an S at the moment.
So what will you do? Because you'll end up with one spare, won't you?
Yes, potentially may buy another X, but I'm not sure. I think Nicola might kill me if I do that. But I do have 2 pre-orders at the moment. And so if I do that, then I will then sell my S and my Xbox One, my day one, or keep them as a nice little kind of like kind of seeing this evolution of this just generation. But yeah,
4K player for the bedroom.
Yes, exactly. Well, because we now have like 2 4K TVs, so if I bring both of the X's down in the movie room, then the S would be really good on the 4K TV upstairs.
You kind of need it for the you kind of want it there, wouldn't you?
So I could use that as a Blu-ray player.
Yeah,
because that gives me that. So I don't know what I'm doing at the moment, but like I say, I have managed to bag a couple of pre-orders. I was there waiting, refreshing the page. There was a whole group of us, and it was like, right, it's up, and the people were like, send me the link. I'm like, here's the link, and I was just like, kind of, it was all very nervous when it kind of came up.
Follow me, my hearties, it's open.
But then it did sell out quite quickly. I mean, I think I woke up the next morning, and it was already kind of unavailable on Amazon in the UK.
Yeah. I woke up about, I don't know, say 6:30 a.m. And I checked Amazon and it was there, and I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting, no one's buying it, and I was like, that'll teach them for having a bad conference. And then you said they were sold out about an hour later, and I went back on Amazon. Yeah. And they were as you say, they were sold out, and then I was like, I'm glad I got my pre-order in.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it. I mean, in the box you've got the controller, as I was saying. You've also got a 4K enabled high-speed HDMI thing as well. A cable is the word I'm looking for.
Thing will do.
Thing, and it's a 1 terabyte as well, which I still kind of feel should have been more.
Not enough.
Because of the patches. I can't wait to see the size of all these patches that we're going to get for like Halo and Gears and Forza, what those patches are going to be like. But
my goodness me, I downloaded Trials Fusion the other day, which is free. It's the free game at the moment with Xbox Live. Yeah, that was 10 gig.
What?
It was 10 gig. It must have had hundreds of updates since it's been around, and I was like, "This is 10 gig." Imagine what it's going to be like when we download Star Wars Battlefront for Xbox One X. It's going to be like, well, we've had this conversation before. Yeah, 1 terabyte is a little bit stingy.
Well, absolutely. I mean, and that's why I'm glad that I've got my 2 terabyte hard drive, because I can just kind of move those around and just plug that straight in, and I'm good. There's on the Xbox One S and also on my day one, there's hardly anything on the hard drive. I think there's Halo 5, the old Destiny, which we've now removed, and getting ready for the new Destiny. It was just those games that we were on both that we didn't need to swap around, but all my other games are just on my hard drive. So there was that Xbox One Project Scorpio Edition, which looks very slick. And then they also, it kind of leaked just before the show. I kind of tweeted it out from our Lost Spark account, but they also announced the Minecraft Edition themed Xbox One S.
Yeah, why didn't they make the X? Why didn't they do the X like that as well?
I know, but I
would have bought that in a New York minute.
Absolutely, because I said that to you, and I said, "Have you seen this?" And I just kind of sent you the link, and I think,
and I was just instantly disappointed. I was like, "Why did you do the one that I can't buy? I don't want to buy another S." It's like, why do this now?
Well, I guess because they don't have the ordinary Xbox anymore, do they? It's just an S or an X. So you go into a store and you buy an S or an X. Now, if Sam wanted his first console and you go into game because you hate yourself and you go into game and you want to pick him up a console, seeing a Minecraft one there for a couple of £150 less than this other one, you're going to go for that, aren't you? So this is because, don't forget, Xbox One X is that premium. It's a premium Xbox. Your standard Xbox is this, and I thought, you have to give props to that design. If I was into Minecraft, which I'm only a noob in Minecraft, but when you actually look at that console face on, and also the green controller that has a Daz, help me out, creeper.
Yeah, it's a creeper. And and then you can buy an extra peripheral that's a pig.
Yes, and then the pig on the back has the little kind of pig's tail on the where the batteries go. Has a little pig's tail, and then
it's really cool.
Creeper has a TNT on that, but the console itself, and we'll stick some links in the show notes, so there'll probably be a picture in the show notes. But the console itself looks absolutely awesome.
Really does. I don't really go for these sort of custom made consoles. I wouldn't, I've seen them in the past. I'd never been tempted But this, when I saw it, I thought, oh wow, it is really nice. But it's a premium price for the paint job. You know, you can get an Xbox One S with a few games for about 220, 230 quid.
Right.
And this is going for 350.
Right. Okay.
On pre-order. So it's only 100 quid less than the X.
Wow.
So you'd have to be pretty passionate about Minecraft to spend the extra 100 than a normal S, or not stump up the extra 100 to get the premium console. So I'm not sure why it's maybe it's the one. Maybe it's the fact. No, I don't think it's the 1 terabyte because I think the S's are all a terabyte.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah. No. I think you're right there. I think you're right.
So I think it's well, everyone. It doesn't matter. Everyone, it's sold out anyway. It doesn't matter. Everyone's bought it. No, it's got a green pre-order here on the UK Microsoft website. It is very beautiful. I really like it. And as I say, I just wished when you showed it me, I was there looking at it, and I was like, "Is they going to do that to the X?" And then as I dug around the internet, I was like, "No." I was like, "Oh, that's such a shame," because it would have been the first custom mod I would have got. Model I would have got. So It's a pity, but it's very nice for gamers that love Minecraft. It's just so striking. I really like it.
It really is. It's really cool. The way they've done that is just absolutely superb.
And another reason not to throw it in with the Xbox One X is because that's one of the few games. Well, there's 100 games out that are going to be tweaked, but Minecraft's getting that super duper graphics update.
Yeah.
So it would have made sense. So that's a pity. I'll be furious because once I get mine, they're going to do it, aren't they? They'll do it in like January or something. It'll be like Xbox One X Minecraft pack.
Yes, I mean, again, kind of it is. You're right. It's $349.99 on the Microsoft Store. You get Minecraft thrown in. You also get that custom controller, and you also get the Redstone pack as well, which is obviously a bundle for Minecraft as well. Yeah,
really nice console.
So that was really cool. So, and then I guess other news in that conference that's worthwhile talking about, Recore. Now, this actually did leak kind of before the show, but Recore is getting a definitive edition. So Recore's coming out. It's going to be running HDR. It's going to be running in HDR. And it's also going to be kind of coming out in this definitive, which is going to include extra levels. It's going to include some of the stuff that was missing from the original game that kind of came out. And it's going to be available. The definitive upgrade will be available to anyone who owns Recore. Or you can also get the definitive edition, in September's Game Pass. So when Game Pass comes and gets refreshed in September, they're going to have Recore is going to be part of that, along with some other games as well. But it's going to be sitting in there. So for $7.99 for that month, you could actually play Recore, the definitive edition.
That's nice. That's quite a nice offer. I knew that you got it free if you already bought Recore, which is a nice touch. But sticking it in Games Pass, that's good as well. I never played Recore.
No, I didn't. I played the demo because there was a demo of it, wasn't there?
That was enough.
Yes, and that was just
but it wasn't finished, really. I think that's kind of the admission they're making with this definitive. It's called Finished Edition.
Yes, Definished Edition. It's like it's street. It's that finished. I mean, I liked the demo, but then I was talking to James and some other guys, and they were basically just saying that it kind of gets a little bit repetitive. They were loving it, but it had its flaws.
Yeah,
and I think it was like one of those Sundays, where like, what can I play? And I played the demo. I'm like, yeah, I'm liking this. But James was like, yeah, no, it's good, but it kind of has it, and it's missing one of the robots as well. There was all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that robot's in it on the definitive edition.
Yes, he's now kind of in. They've now done that, so which is really cool that they've gone back and added that. But you gotta laugh. But so that was that. So the one new reveal that they did do in that conference was, out of the blue, Jurassic World, the park simulator.
Yeah, it looks good, that, doesn't it?
This got me whooping. Yeah, absolutely. Because this was it. This was quite early in the show, wasn't it? So I was obviously hungry for content. And
in the desert, Anthony didn't mind what he was drinking. He's like, give me anything. Whoa! But, Roller Coaster Tycoon with dinosaurs.
Who could ask for more? And it's coming out at the same time as the sequel to Jurassic World as well.
Yeah, good timing. Looks good as well.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Really good. Not sure what the footage was from. Hopefully, presumably it was an Xbox One X. But the foliage, the trees, the dinosaurs, the whole thing looked great. When I saw the clip for this, and when they dumped the building down, that smoke was the building. I was just like looking at that, thinking, "Oh wow, that looks really amazing." So yeah, I think they were catering to the German audience like a bit of an RTS type thing. It's their forte, so they sort of that was for them, I think. But you know, it's for us as well because we like it.
Indeed, who doesn't like dinosaurs? So there was that, and I think that's kind of about it for the show. They also showed a bit more of the new dashboard that's coming out as well, didn't they? You know, the kind of updates to everything. They had Mike Ybarra came out.
Yeah, I didn't really see that bit because I probably should say I missed it. I forgot about it. You know, I was going to watch it, and I got wrapped up in something. And I don't know what it was, but I didn't think about it again till about 9 o'clock. And I was like, and I remembered, I was like, what am I doing? It's the blooming conference. I was like, no, I can't believe I'm missing it. So I regged it onto a stream. And I thought, right, first I'll catch up. So I went to Eurogamer because they do like a live notes thing as it's going on. And I went, right, let me just get caught up. And I started reading the notes. You know where I'm going with this. And as I read him, I said to Claire, I said, I don't think I'll bother with the last half an hour. I said, it doesn't. I sort of said they've been on an hour and they've only announced, well, not much. It's like they haven't announced much. It's been on an hour. So I didn't see a lot of it, and then I just caught up the next day with a few things. So I didn't see that bit with Mike Ybarra just talking about some of the stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that Mike Ybarra did say was that they're going to be making it really easy to port over all of your stuff that's currently on your Xbox. When you buy an Xbox One X, they're going to help you kind of port all your stuff, and you can actually. There's going to be an app that's going to be coming out before the Xbox One X comes out, which will allow you to kind of copy all of your settings and everything up to the cloud. So when you kind of plug that Xbox One X in, it's going to just copy all of that down. That you don't need to kind of set all those again. They also added that they're going to have a daytime nighttime mode, very similar to the Switch. That you can have a light background or you can have a dark background. All of those kind of things are coming. They also announced that you can, if you have both of your Xbox consoles on the same network, that you can copy those, the games that you've downloaded, you can actually copy them in your network rather than downloading them again. So if you're moving the 60 gig or the 70 gig that is Gears of War 4, you don't have to just delete it. You can actually copy it in your network. So if you want to move that to your new Xbox One X, you can just move that locally rather than re-downloading it again. Because I guess I'm unlimited, but a lot of people are capped, aren't they? So
yeah, it'll make it easier to copy it locally instead of having to go out to the internet and then back to the Xbox. They've had a good think about this, it seems, and they've given the users a lot more options and features that look really simple and well thought out. I think it's really good the way that they've looked at this. It's very welcome, and for me, it as well as this rather stingy 1 terabyte that's coming with the Xbox One X, but the ease that it gives you if you're using an external hard drive with the Xbox now is sold it to me. I think I've got a couple of external drives. And all I've really used them for in the past. One of them I plugged into the TV, so it did that recording the TV thing.
Yes.
Which I never watched TV anyway. So I did that. It was more just so that I had the function because the TV can do this. Let's do it. So I plugged one, but essentially they were just so I had mirrored backups of all our stuff, and we kept them both on, and our pictures and stuff. Kept them on 2 drives. One should be off-site really, etc. IT security and all that. But I'm thinking I might just plug one into the Xbox and use it that way, because it's like Larry Herb was saying, Major Nelson was saying, he had all his stuff on an external hard drive, and when he went to X, he just took it out and plugged it into the X, and everything's there. Yeah. And that wasn't just because he was on a developer edition or anything. That's going to come across to us as the customers. And I love that idea. So you, Anthony, you'll just, all your content that you've got on your external drive, and also Major Nelson told us that all the ports are in the same place, aren't they? They're all stacked up the same on the X as they are on the S. So all you'll do is you just take your S out, you plug your new X in, and you can just plug your external hard drive in, and you're all set.
Yeah.
But that's not all. There's more. This is why it was the QVC set, isn't it? It's like, but we're also going to give you. They're also going to allow you to upgrade all your content to 4K ready so you're prepared for that. So while you're on your S, you can get all those updates onto your external drive, get all the 4K patches, etc., whatever it is you need, and then as soon as you plug it in, that's it. Instead of plugging it in and then waiting for aeons while you wait for the download, you can have done that in your own time at night time when you're not gaming, when you're not using the internet, etc. And all you'll do is just plug that. So it's kind of like almost your portable. That's your gaming hard drive now. I think if that trend carried on, the drive that you get in the console will become inconsequential.
Yes.
And we'll have these drives for our consoles, especially if we're not going to have, say, if generations as we've known them up to now don't matter anymore. If it does carry on with this way and they keep the architecture the same, unless they change to a different architecture instead of going to 64-bit. I suppose if they went to 128-bit or something like that, then it would change because the architecture would change.
Yeah.
But while the architecture is the same, you would just carry that and go from console to console. And I do like that. I like that a lot. It's really good. You keep all your stuff, you plug it in, it's instant. It doesn't matter if Lizard Squad or whatever bring down the network on Christmas Day because you don't need an update. You've already had it in preparation. It's just nicely thought out.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you are playing disc, it's not just for digital download. Even if you're playing a disc copy, so say for instance you slammed in a disc of Star Wars Battlefront 2, you install that to the hard drive. So my default installation destination is my hard drive.
Oh, cool. That's really good.
So even if you're fully disked now, if you copied all of the install files and all of the game data that you're seeing on your Xbox One S, copy that to your external drive. When you go to your Xbox One X, you pop in the disk. It won't need to install it because it's already installed. So it would just go, oh yeah, you've got all of the patches and you've got it installed. I'm going to play straight away. So I guess the spark tip that we're giving now is just if you can do this and you are thinking about upgrading, do it, because you will get to be gaming on your Xbox One X on the 7th of November a lot quicker if you do that preparation now. And as you say, I didn't realise they were doing that, but if you start getting all of those 4K patches for those list of games, your Halos, your Gears of War, your Forza Horizon 3, you're going to be playing those a lot quicker as well.
Yeah, up and running in minutes instead of hours. It's a great option.
It really is. That's absolutely superb. No, cheers for that. I didn't know that was going to happen. I guess they're just going to be patches that are going to be coming out. So it might be worthwhile, kind of like kind of towards the end of October, start of November, it might be worthwhile just firing up all of your favourite games that you want to try out on your X, because then they go pink. Or sometimes it even does it at night, doesn't it? It just upgrades them anyway. Because sometimes if you go to your Xbox One Dash and you look at the queue, it says, late last upgraded, and it just kind of, the big patch for the tech alpha for Sea of Thieves just gets downloaded, and Gears of War gets updated and all of that. You never have to kind of sit and wait.
Yeah, and I know it's an extra cost, and maybe it should have been 2 terabyte, not 1, but storage is pretty cheap these days. It's pretty cheap. You can pick up 4 terabyte USB 3 external hard drive if you shop around, you can get one for, let's say, 90 to 100 quid.
Yeah,
and that's gonna last you, and it's going to save you all that inconvenience. So I'd be thinking, if you haven't got one, I'd be thinking of getting one. Not only just to make the transfer easier, because you can get ready, you can be proactive about the transfer of all your stuff. But once you swap it over, especially what you said there, Anthony, that I didn't know, that when you buy a disc, it can install it straight to the drive with no hassle.
Yeah,
it's like, and just consider that to be your drive. And the games run fine, don't they? You don't get any slowdown.
No, absolutely. If anything, they actually run faster. Things kind of fire up faster on the...
I suppose you could get a solid state and it might be even faster than that.
Yeah, that's what I've got. And like I say, I can, when I'm on the big TV playing a game, maybe a game from Boomerang or something like that, a very rare disc-based game, and then Nicola comes down and wants the big TV, I just jump onto the little one, spit out the disc, put the disc in the other Xbox, stick out my hard drive, and off I go. I don't need to...
That's really elegant. Do you think you need a solid state, or will it work with a SATA?
No, a normal one works. It's just, yeah, absolutely, it works absolutely fine.
Brilliant.
No problems at all. So it's kind of a bittersweet one, isn't it? Because they came with the goods, and also one thing that you were saying about all of the cables, and from the Xbox One S to the Xbox One X, is, did you notice that little subtle hint that Major Nelson was talking about with the little bump, the HDMI in or HDMI out, the one that goes to your TV, has a little bump just at the top of it. So if you're trying to feel down the back, I'm doing the motion now, if you're trying to feel down the back because you want to know where your HDMI cable goes in, it's got a little bump at the top.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember I heard him talking about that. It was a post-show E3 thing when he was showing off the Xbox to
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley, thank you. I didn't remember his surname. I couldn't remember his first name. Jeff Keighley, and the way he said it, and the way he was like, cause he goes, "Cause you're feeling around," and wouldn't be surprised if he got that put in because he got so annoyed with feeling around at the back. Because the way he did it with his finger. He was like, "You're feeling around, you can't do it. It's a nightmare." So we've got this little bump, and I just thought, that's genius. It's kind of like this, Anthony. The hardware is bang on.
Yes.
The experience that you're going to get from it is bang on. They've thought about, the upgrade,
the new
transition.
dashboard looks super slick. Yeah,
it's all there. It just needs the software.
Yeah,
and there's some software, and there's all the. It's really good that it's going to make all the other stuff good. Once we start getting more titles, I think it's going to come into its own. It's just, I think we're getting used to this. We said this about the PS4 and the Xbox One at the time. That it took a year to get to where we expected it to be.
But not 4 years into a cycle.
Well, no.
You would expect. I
was trying to give a positive note.
I know, but you would expect them to be stacked up by now of like titles that they can do. If they'd have said to us during that conference, here's a brand new IP, here's a brand new game from X developer. Mind blown, you'd be like, oh my god! But we've seen all of that. It's the fact that I sat through listening to Aaron Greenberg, the guys from Rare. I sat through them saying the same stuff that we've heard them say a million times before, and it's just we've heard all of that. We've seen Super Lucky's Tale. We know about all of this. This is Microsoft's one time to kind of get out before Sony, because Sony doesn't really do Gamescom. So they're there kind of, and they had a chance. Sony are now going to do Paris Games Week, where they're going to probably show us Quantic Dreams. There's going to show us lots of other stuff, and then they have the PSX, where we're going to get even more stuff. Come the end of the year, Sony will quite rightly kind of go, look at all this content we've got. You've even got space goggles that you can wear if you want to go that way as well. Dusty space goggles for me at the moment, but space goggles. You've even got that, and it's just it pangs me because I'm not a fanboy. But I have an allegiance to Xbox. I prefer. There's lots more that I prefer, from the controller to the dashboard to everything. The achievements, I prefer those on Xbox, and I play my PlayStation Pro. I play all of the exclusives on there. But it just pangs me because I just want more from that, and I would have loved 3 games that would just blow that Xbox One out of the water on November 7th.
Yeah, you see, I don't prefer either, really. I just play the machine that's got the games that I want to play on.
Yeah, and we have that luxury, don't we?
We're totally lucky with that. But this is the thing: if I've got a most powerful console, then that should be my favourite, and that should be the one that all the games that come out, definitely multi-platforms, they should all be bought on that because it should be the best.
Yeah.
But what I want is that added extra.
Yeah.
That added extra of some exclusives, and that's what they're missing. And like you say, Sony, their next conference, they'll just be sitting in a bathtub full of games going, we got so many games and exclusive content, we're bathing in it. And it's a bit dry for Xbox. But let's see. I'm like you. I'm shocked. I'm just shocked.
But the problem
is 2017, and
when we get to November, I'm going to be going, I've got too many games to play, because I'll be playing Battlefront, I'll be playing, Call of Duty, I'll be playing Forza, I'll be playing all of those games.
And if they're significantly better than PS4 Pro, then the Xbox One X is going to be a great buy.
Yeah. But that's what I did last year.
We'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
Exactly. I mean, that's what I did last year. I played Titanfall and Call of Duty on PlayStation 4. I played Titanfall because they had HDR, and shininess.
Yeah, and I was doing the same thing. But that's the thing. I just follow the games.
Follow where the shiny is.
I do. I follow if there's a good game comes out, then I try. If it's an exclusive, then obviously you go to the console where it's going to be on. But if it's not, then I try and work out where it's going to be best on, or where your friends are playing.
Yes, indeed. I think they are the two.
And I think
factors.
that's lucky. I think Xbox is kind of dining out on that. On Xbox Live, because they did that so well in the days of the 360, and they made that community, and Call of Duty went so massive, and there's all those players that have got their friends, then they stick on Xbox, and I think that's saving them at the moment. And there's time. They can't. This is the thing, Anthony. They can't have spent so much money making this massively powerful box without an intent to bring massively amazing games on it. Can they? Answer me.
There's got to be. There's got to be.
Exactly. They've got something up the sleeve.
They've got to be. There's got to be something. There's got to be something. You know, I mean, like I say, we're going to have Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, and State of Decay 2 in the spring. Next year, Halo looking mind-bogglingly gorgeous. But, as you've said previously before, we'll wrap this section up, but as you said previously before, you don't just want to play your Halos, and you want to play new stuff. You want to play the equivalent of Horizon Zero Dawn, of Zelda Breath of the Wild, as Bloodborne. You want to play all of those.
These other platforms have done that, and I know Zelda's kind of repeat, but it's completely different. It's reinvented, isn't it? And yet, Gears and Halo and Forza, they're amazing. And they're going to go on, and I hope they have long and happy and rich lives in the future. But we just need some
new IP. Cuphead.
Need some new IP.
Cuphead. Yeah, we need Cuphead.
Cuphead looks amazing. It looks like Parodius.
Yes.
So I was happy with that. It looks like Parodius. So I'm reinterested in Cuphead.
I can't wait
for
Cuphead.
They've redone the entire game, haven't they?
They basically. Really have, yes.
And I think that's really cool. And that's not long to go. September the 29th?
Yep, 26 or something like that.
26, something like that. But yeah, all it needs, it's like you can rely on tried and trusted IPs for so long, but then you need some fresh stuff, don't you? And that's what we need, some fresh stuff.
Yes. Give it to us. Right, so that was the Microsoft conference. Like I say, it was bittersweet because we had this awesome thing, but then it was just kind of tainted. Right,
that's enough.
More, yes, I'm going to move on. Next piece of news is with me, and this is a very quick one, but I kind of looked at this and I was just giddy as a sandboy. This is, we've got a Planet of the Apes game coming. So this came out of nowhere. Planet of the Apes Last Frontier is coming this year. It's actually coming in a couple of months' time. Now this is Planet of the Apes, and I'll put a link to the trailer because the trailer has to be seen. It looks fantastic. This is set in the Planet of the Apes cinema universe, the cinematic universe, this latest trilogy that we've got. It's set between Dawn and War of the Planet of the Apes. And it's been created by Andy Serkis's studio. So Imaginarium, Andy Serkis's kind of motion capture studio, have created this cinematic Planet of the Apes game. Have you seen the trailer, Daz? Have you seen it?
Yeah, it looks really good.
It looks fantastic. Now, bear in mind, because when I first saw it, I thought, this is a third-person game, kind of, you're going to play maybe both sides. But what it is, it's a very telltale. So this is going to last as the experience, the game. It's not an experience. The game is going to last as long as a movie. But what happens is, if you watch that, and I'll stick the link to the gameplay footage as well, you get to certain parts. And similar to Telltale, it gives you that option of being able to then choose what you want to do. Kind of choose your dialogue, choose the next steps and stuff like that. But in doing so, this blows Telltale out of the water because the graphics look stunning.
Yeah, it's very much that interactive movie.
It really is.
Type of game.
Yeah.
But when Telltale see this, it's just kind of like, this is where we should be with a game like this. This looks phenomenal. This looks like that old dream that I had when I used to play on my Commodore 64. And me and my mate said, imagine, because the dream was like that you would play a movie. That was our idea of the ultimate game. It'd be like a movie that you played. And this looks like that.
Yes.
It's very, very good. Hopefully, I don't see why it wouldn't have a good story, but yeah, this could be really good, couldn't it? Really enjoyable, nice bit of poignant storytelling in there, and let's hope that this is the start of maybe a few more of this type of game.
Absolutely. So it doesn't include any of the main characters from the movie. What it is, it's a kind of a offshoot of apes that are kind of living in the mountains, and then their food starts to deplete, so they have to go down to the colony of humans that are down there. They have to. That's when the game starts. I cannot wait for this. It's coming. Yeah. It's coming this winter. I hope it kind of comes when it's snowing outside and it's horrible, because I would love to play this like that. Yeah, and it just looks oh, excuse me, and it just looks absolutely superb. I just cannot wait to play this. So yeah, this is Planet of the Apes: The Last Frontier.
Yeah, looks awesome.
Cool. One last thing, just to round up my kind of news, is that, and I kind of teased right at the top, and the tease was very much kind of PlayStation EU stuck on the Twitter. They said we're gearing up for a big announcement on the same day that Microsoft announced their Xbox One X. They said they were gearing up for an announcement, and they unveiled that today. That is that they will be announcing, or they will be releasing, a Gran Turismo, bloody hell, Gran Turismo Sport console. It's GT. I saw GT, so I'm like, Grand Theft Auto.
You nearly gave us an exclusive there.
I did.
Grand Theft Auto 6.
Rockstar are going to have me shot. A Gran Turismo Sport limited edition console. It's very much kind of silver and black. It has the Gran Turismo logo on it, and also you've got the controller as well. I'll stick a link in the show notes. The controller as well, very silver and black, and it's got the GT logo on the middle on the touch button. Looks very cool. They're going to be bringing this out, so this one comes out. It's just a standard PlayStation. It's not a PlayStation Pro, but they will be bringing out a jet black Pro edition of this kind of GT bundle. But this one, the kind of silver and white, looks very cool. I quite like it as a limited edition.
There must be some kind of rule that if you're going to do a fancy edition, it's limited to the last iteration of the console.
The lowest iteration of the console.
Yeah. This is only available on PlayStation 1.
Yeah. You can get this on soon. But it looks very cool. You know, I'm quite...
It does.
It means that Gran Turismo, almost said it again, that Gran Turismo is coming out on the 18th of October. So I was sceptical, thought they might push it back. But it means that it definitely is coming out because we now have a console bundled with it.
Yeah. Let's just see how many patches it takes to get the game fully up to speed once it does come out.
Awesome. Right, so the last piece of news is with you.
It is, and I think after all this conference talk, I just wanted to just have a bit of a recap and give you the key takeaway, Anthony.
Right.
Basically. So here's today's key takeaway, and that is that Domino's Pizza...
Your nemesis.
Yeah, my nemesis. I'm trying to compete with him. Claire, ring Domino's and I'll have a pizza done before they arrive, all right? Domino's Pizza in Australia, they have decided to shake up the pizzas and started... a Final Fantasy themed range.
What? Of
pizzas at Domino's. Yeah, shame you can't get them here, really. So it's to celebrate the release of Stormblood, Final Fantasy 14, the game. I think that's the MMORPG on PC. And in celebration of that, they've announced a new few pizzas. You've got the Mogul Pizza. You've got the now Chocobo. I say that word different every time I say it. So Chocobo Chow. And a gaming meal deal that includes a free code for the actual Final Fantasy game as well. So
awesome.
If you go for the Chocobo Chow Pizza, that's chicken, because apparently they're the chocobos of the earth. Chicken, pineapple, capsicum, mushroom, onion and spring onion, which sounds like a good mix. Mm-hmm. If you like mushrooms, which personally I don't, but for anyone else it'd be okay. What else have we got? We've also got the Moogle Meat Lovers Pizza and the Curious Cactuar, which is a vegetable one, the Stormblood Supreme, and the Hawaiian Heavens Ward, which is just a Hawaiian with a fancy name. If you want to get the code with the meal deal, this is the good bit about this story, is it's a pretty good deal. If you order the Pizza and Gaming bundle, if you're over there in Australia, from the Domino's website, from their microsite for Final Fantasy, you get 3 traditional pizzas, a garlic bread, 1.25 litre of drink, for $49.95.
Wow.
But guess what? If you bought the game on its own, the game's $55 as a standalone.
Wow.
So you're actually getting the game for pretty much the same price for $5 extra, but you're also getting a massive pizza meal. Hooray! Awesome. So what's not to like? So that's the key takeaway, I thought, from the podcast today.
That's just awesome.
I think I'll leave it there on that amazing joke.
Absolutely. I think we should just leave that and then move on to the VR news desk for all the latest in VR.
VR desk.
Yeah, here we are, the VR desk once again, as we let the dust settle on that key takeaway.
You can't let it go, can you? Let it go.
Can't let it go.
Let
mate.
it go.
I was so proud of that line. So what have we got for you today? Things that have been happening in the world of VR. I think most importantly, following suit, Oculus dropped the price for apparently a temporary period of time, didn't they, down to $499?
Mm-hmm.
In a big sort of price drop. HTC Vive have followed suit.
Right.
Which, they said about a month or so ago that they wouldn't. They said that they thought that the price for the HTC Vive was set at the correct price for the amount of technology you got in there and all the rest of it because of what you could do. Anyway, they've done a turnaround on that and they've dropped the price for the HTC Vive down to £599.
Right.
So they've dropped it by 160 quid.
Wow, that's really good.
So yeah, it's quite a drop. So I don't know whether this will tempt more people in. I think the Vive's now been out for about 15 months. So maybe it'll be a temptation for more people to get into VR. Have they left it a bit late because maybe the ones that were on the fence might have jumped to Oculus?
Yes.
I really don't know. But the more people that get involved with VR gives it a higher chance of, staying the not the storm. I don't think it's in a storm really, but just sort of giving it a chance to spread and get into the wider people's consciousness. But I was looking at this and I was kind of thinking, well, it's a bit risky. You see these price drops. Is it because there's another generation around the corner? You drop 600 quid on a Vive,
yeah.
And then a month later they say, yeah, Vive 2, and you're like, oh man, that kind of thing hurts, doesn't it?
It really does.
I did a bit of nosing around, and the site roadtovr.com had a little piece on this. And they'd been in touch with Vive about the price drop. And they said that when they asked HTC Vive about it, whether there was a new one around the corner, they got a pretty definite answer from them. And Vive said, no, we expect the current generation Vive to be in the market for the foreseeable future. Right now, our focus is on continuing to improve Vive and keep building the ecosystem so that customers and developers can realise the full potential of VR. That's what they said.
Right.
So it looks like if you do buy one, you're pretty safe, at least for the imminent future, however long that is. Another quote from, I forget who it was, but somebody high up at Vive, I haven't got the details in front of me, he categorically said there'd be nothing else in 2017, but then we are, sort of nearly September. And I read another little article. Again, I haven't got the notes in front of me, but I read another article that was talking about resolutions, and it was a research group that had done some research. Well, surprise, surprise. And what they'd found is that the biggest thing that was deemed to change people's acceptance or willing to purchase VR was the resolution.
Right.
And to break the barrier where people are sort of a little bit like, not too sure, they said that it really needed to get to 2K/4K to really sort of bust out of that screen door area that we're in at the moment. I mean, it's serviceable. It's good, actually. I mean, you compare it to years ago. It's amazing. But people that aren't technical, they're not bothered about, it's really good compared to what it used to be, are they? They just want it to be good. Mm-hmm. And they were saying that 2K/4K is probably the gateway in for the masses. But they also said, even though there's a few HMDs that can do that at the moment, whether they're in concept or there's a few here and there that can do it, they're quite expensive.
Right.
For them actually to hit the market for everybody, they were saying it'd probably be around 2022. So their estimations were in about 5 years, we would be there with the resolution technology for 4K VR, still probably tethered, but then maybe not. So that's quite interesting. So anyway, going back to the first point, there's been a drop, £160 off a Vive. If you want one, that's great. There's never been a better time to get a Vive if you want one, and Oculus as well. I think because they extended their sale for a longer period, so I'm pretty sure that that's still on at $499 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So 100 quid in it, and both really good systems. So if you've got a PC already, it's pretty competitive, especially Oculus round the PSVR mark. I think PSVR is about $360. So there's the catalyst, isn't it? Really, there's the big bone in it. It's like if you've got a PC already, it's pretty good. If you haven't got a PC already, that's where your cost is. You need to spend a few quid on a PC to run the hardware. And if you're not willing to spend that money, there's no point getting the hardware, because there's no point buying something like that for it to run like a dog, because you just won't enjoy it. So, have a look. If you're interested, go on the HTC Vive site or the Oculus site. Good prices to be had at the moment. And finally, say hello to the Virtual Reality Institute of Health and Exercise.
What?
What is the Virtual Reality Institute of Health and Exercise? I hear you shout, Anthony.
What is the VR Institute of Health and Exercise, Daz?
Well, what they are is, I'm glad you asked me that. They're an independent research and ratings organisation, and they've been created to study the health impact of virtual and augmented reality. And they use scientifically reliable tools to rate the exercise potential of VR and augmented experiences. That's why they exist. So, for instance, they've worked out that on Audio Shield, which is a game on the Vive where you punch the notes that come to you, it's a rhythm action game in VR, and you punch the notes as they approach you, and it's really good and satisfying and quite rigorous. They've had a look at it. Okay, and they say that gamers have played more than 628,000 hours of Audio Shield since its launch in April 2016. Metabolic testing has shown that Audio Shield burns an average of 6.8 calories per minute during typical low-intensity gaming.
Wow.
Which is at least, or stacked up with all the hours played, is 152,781,628 calories have been spent on that game. On its own during the time that it's been released. That's the equivalent of doing... They've got some big numbers for you here. That's the equivalent of doing 268,037,944 sit-ups, 318,000 of aerobics, or running around the earth 46 times. Wow.
Wow.
I like this stat. Or avoiding 611,100 hamburgers.
So cool.
That's the stats on Audio Shield, but they've rated loads of the games that are available in VR, and they're giving them a rating for how exerting they are.
Right.
So for instance, let's find one that we've talked about. Thrill of the Fight, boxing game that I own. They've got like a certification on it, and they've got a man on this one sort of running. So this is the exercise equivalent of sprinting. 15 plus calories per minute is for that game, and it's got like a little guy sort of running by it. And then you've got other games. Audio Shield, that's the equivalent of rowing, which is 8 to 10 calories per minute.
Wow.
Then you've got Super Hot, which is a pretty good game. That's the equivalent of walking. But then, it might just be walking, but that's more than sitting.
Yes.
Isn't it? And then you've got Racket NX. That's a game that I really love. One of the best games I've got, I think, on VR. It's like a futuristic squash game, which we've talked about on the pod before. And that's the equivalent of an elliptical machine at 4 to 6 calories per minute. So it's really interesting to see it categorised like that. And I wish these guys all the best, and I hope that they keep it up. And in the future, as the library grows, you could think, I fancy a bit of VR. But, I had that pizza last night. I probably should sort myself out a bit. What's the best, especially me at the moment, what's the best I could pick? And you look and you find that. And you could give yourself a combination of like 3 sprinting games.
Yes.
And a few sort of walking games. You could almost do a high interval training program of games, and you could use this as a little helper.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So that's the Virtual Reality Institute of Health and Exercise that has sprung up. And if there's anything positive about VR that you could say, it's definitely the fact that it gets you up and gets you moving, and that's something that you can't say about a lot of games, but or video games anyway. But VR really does that, and it's nice to have that recognised.
Awesome. Stick a link in the show notes.
Will do.
Excellent stuff. Superb. And that's it for this episode. Huge thank you for listening. Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter. We're at Lost Spark Pod. And you can also find us on YouTube and the Gamers of Lost Spark PS4 community and Xbox One Club. Daz, where can we find you online?
Yeah, you can find me as Whiteomator on PS4, Xbox One and Twitch. Daz a Gamer on YouTube, and at Daz Whittam on Twitter.
Awesome. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch. I'm PS-Chessman on PlayStation Network and Chessman UK on Twitter. If you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. That's about it. Right. I'm going to play something.
Yeah, me too. I wonder what.
Something. More Trials for me, maybe.
I'm going to play... Oh, mate, my mind's gone blank. What am I playing at the moment?
Say bye.
Never mind.
Say bye.
Something. Bye.
Bye. See you later. See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Awesome.